Playoff football in Green Bay on a January afternoon. Who could have written a better script for the Packers? Onto this glorious stage steps a familiar foe, still seething from an agonizing setback this October, still haunted by a playoff battering last year. But these 49ers have a proud tradition of their own to uphold, so perhaps it was destiny they would meet again. The fans have come prepared, but a miserable day in Green Bay has not dimmed their enthusiasm. A sellout crowd at Lambeau Field for the NFC divisional battle between the San Francisco 49ers and the Green Bay Packers. We have had rain all day, and the temperatures are dropping. Right now it's 34 degrees. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dick Stockton along with Matt Millen, and the 49ers are looking for redemption. Both of those defeats that you saw, they felt they should have won the game in October here at Lambeau Field. Many of the players who are injured will be playing today, including, we hope, Steve Young, but we don't know what Young's condition is right now with the ribs. There's a lot of uncertainty, Matt.
Well, I think there is a lot of uncertainty, and there's a lot of uncertainty with this San Francisco 49er football team because they don't know quite what they're going to get out of their quarterback. But that shouldn't be their focus. Their focus should be what they do have. They still have Jerry Rice. They still have a great defense. They still have that great tradition, and they still have that great pride that's gotten them to this point.
Now, the Packers achieved everything they wanted. 13-3, home field advantage, scored the most points, gave up the fewest. They are on a roll. How do they maintain the momentum they've got now?
I think they maintain the momentum by doing what got them here. Play great defense, run the football, and then ride the shoulders of this man, Brett Favre. Two-time MVP. He's gotten them to this point. If they're smart, they'll ride them on through.
It is a rousing scene here in Green Bay, and the field was covered earlier, but the field conditions are hardly in ideal shape right now. Coming up, the 49ers and the Packers. Getting set for the kickoff for this playoff game, but right now let's go down to the field and Pam Oliver.
All right, thank you, Dick. Coach, you seem to have it all. A healthy team, home field advantage. Just how significant is it to play this game at home?
Pam, I think it was everything for us. Not the field so much or the weather, but our fans. You know, they're wonderful. I want them yelling for us. I'm very happy for them.
This is a game you're supposed to win. How do you go about beating the 49ers?
Well, it'll be a very close ball game. They're a fine team. I think the team that turns the ball over the least amount of times is going to win, and the special teams are going to play a big role.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck. Let's go back upstairs to Dick.
All right, Pam, thank you very much. The 49ers have won the toss, and they will receive, and that means we will see Steve Young quickly to run the 49er offense.
Dick, you see that number 8 on Steve Young's back? That is not a number today. That is a target, a bullseye. And I would expect with Steve Young injured that the Packers would want to lay a hit on him as soon and as fast as they can.
Pain-killing injections before the game and an inflated flak jacket to try to protect what has been called bruised ribs that Young suffered against the Eagles last week. Greg Hendrick will kick off for the Packers. That's Derek Lavelle, who's back deep with Tommy Bardell. And we're underway. It is a low kick and will bounce into the end zone past Lavelle for a touchback. And the 49ers will start from the 20. So all eyes on Steve Young and his numbers against the Eagles last week, and leading Philadelphia, leading the 49ers with 65 rushing yards and a touchdown. Up front, Wallace, Brown, Sapolo. Chris Dahlman playing despite a sprained ankle. Harris Barton is the right tackle. Terry Kirby and William Floyd, the running backs. Jerry Rice, Terrell Owens, the receivers, and Brent Jones, who's been banged up, starts at tight end. Split backs on first down. Rolling out is Young. No one to throw to, and he goes out of bounds after a gain of about 4. Brian Williams chased him out of bounds. The Packers defense, and they have been outstanding this year, and Reggie White, looking to get to the Super Bowl, has Santana Dotson, Gilbert Brown, and Sean Jones, the veteran. Williams, George Kuntz, and Wayne Simmons, who had a big game last year's playoff. Doug Evans, Eugene Robinson, Leroy Butler, and Craig Newsome. Perhaps an underrated secondary. 2nd and 7. Ball at the 23. Rice in motion, and the handoff is to Terry Kirby. And Kirby gets about a yard. Will bring up 3rd and about 5.
Because of Steve Young's rib injury, you're going to have to protect him. I mean, they're not going to want to get him out of that pocket. And so the interior offensive line is huge today, specifically because obviously you don't want Young to get hurt. And then they have to be able to run the football. They are not a physical offensive line, and they're going against a defensive front that is very physical.
And as you said, Young has been their best runner. 3rd down and 5. Kirby in motion. Young flips it to Jerry Rice, and Rice is hit hard immediately by George Kuntz, and the 49ers will have to punt.
You know, Dick, if you listen to Howie Long in our pregame show, what you just saw is what he said would happen. Because Steve Young has injected those ribs and the field is bad, they're going to have to throw short. And so I think the Packers will play them with a short passing game.
Desmond Howard, who led the NFL in punt returns and returned 3 for touchdowns, will receive Tommy Thompson's kick. And a good kick, considering the conditions, by Thompson. Howard at the 29. Desmond Howard into 49er territory, and Desmond Howard may go all the way. There are no flags down. Touchdown, Green Bay. 71 yards.
Mike Holmgren said that field position and special teams were going to be a major player in this game. You could call him Isaiah because he was a prophet.
And that is the 4th touchdown returned by Desmond Howard this year. And the 49ers already with an early back-to-the-wall situation. Chris Jackie aboard to kick the extra point. Hendrick will be the holder. And the kick is good, and the Packers have jumped on George Seifert Snyder's 7-0.
Yeah, there's that Lambeau leap, and it's not a very good one, but not to be outdone, they all jump behind him.
This Fox NFC Divisional Playoff Special is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. With fares so low, you have the freedom to go places. By Genuine Chevrolet, the cars more Americans trust. By Dockers Khakis. Hey, nice pants. And by IBM, solutions for a small planet.
Desmond Howard with a 71-yard punt return to give the Packers an early 7-0 lead. And the last time there was a punt return for a touchdown against the 49ers was back in 1985 by Pete Manley of the Detroit Lions. Hendrick kicking off for the 2nd time, and Derek Lavelle picks it up on the bounce inside the 10. And Lavelle brings it out to the 25-yard line.
You know, Dick, this return, the first thing, Bernardo Harris right here gets a nice block on 57, Randy Kirk. But then I want you to watch Desmond Howard. This is pure confidence. He knows his game. He made 3 guys miss, and then it was just the magic of Lambeau into the end. But he didn't do it without some help. I mean, you have to be able to get people blocked. Watch Curtis Buckley. They just absolutely abuse him. Everybody's taking shots at him. Now you have to let him back up. That would be considered holding. They throw him back down, then they keep on pounding him, and it doesn't stop there.
Packers setting the tone with their hard hitting. First down from the 26-yard line. Young having trouble finding a target and throws it away.
Now he's looking,
Sean Jones.
He's looking down the field to make a throw, and I'm not so sure that those injections haven't kicked in yet. You know, watching Steve Young like this, I think George Seifert has to make a quick decision. I mean, they're down by 7. That's not a big deal. But you have to, you know what Gerbach is. He practiced all week. Steve Young didn't practice at all. You don't know what you have in number 8. In number 18, you know what you have.
And Gerbach very nearly led the 49ers to that victory. They lost in overtime back in October against the Packers. Gerbach played a fine game in that one.
They're having problems out there. He couldn't get the signals in.
And the Niners are going to call a timeout. So things have started off in rocky fashion for the San Francisco 49ers. We'll be right back. 7-0 Green Bay. Let's take a look at Steve Young's face as he rolled out on the last play.
Yeah, now don't misinterpret that for pain, because Steve is great for having those tremendous facial expressions. At the end is more important. But then watching the huddle, see, he couldn't hear the signals in his helmet. Remember that radio system that every team uses? Well, Young couldn't get it, and they forced him to take a timeout.
49ers are using 2 fullbacks, William Floyd and Tommy Bardell in the backfield. 2nd down and 10, and the handoff to Bardell, who slides to the 31-yard line, and that will bring up 3rd and about 5.
They're going to have to settle down. When you settle down, you get back to your running game. When you start running game, you go look over at that Green Bay Packer defense, and then you start looking at people. And the middle of that defense is, I think, the key to their run defense, and that's Gilbert Brown. And Gilbert Brown, like Howie Long told you in the pregame, is having a tremendous year.
49ers 22nd and 3rd down conversions as the Packers have their dime defense in there on 3rd and 5. Steve Young's wobbly pass is caught by Jerry Rice for a 1st down close to the 40. Craig Newsome defending and a gain of 8 yards.
Dick, you know, you and I talked this right at the start of the game. You don't know what you're going to have in Steve Young, but you do know what you have in number 80, so use him. I mean, Jerry Rice is as good as it gets. And if you're going to match him up outside with a receiver, you take your chance, then he'll beat you.
Jerry Rice, with a tremendous career postseason record, led the NFL in receiving with 108 catches this year. 49ers have a 1st down on their 39. Here's Terry Kirby with the carry up the middle, and he gets a couple of yards. There's
Sean Jones, who has really elevated his game the last 5 weeks of the season. You know, in the middle of the season, he was the lone starter who missed a game, which meant to tell you that the Packers had a lot of healthy guys. But what I've seen in him now is he's been able to get to the corner in the pass rush, and he's playing the run better than I've ever seen him.
And he starts the season slowly when the weather's warm, but when you get to playoff time, he's ready.
And he also was a guy who would retire every training camp, so he's smart.
2nd and 7. Young with a short drop, and Young going up top for Jerry Rice, defended nicely by Craig Newsome. And that will bring up
Craig Newsome. I tell you, Craig Newsome is a battler. I mean, he's one of the really good young corners. Now watch, he's in man coverage. Did you notice exactly what he did? He watched Rice the whole time until Rice turned and looked, and then he swung his head around to find the ball. And that is technically perfect.
Craig Newsome this year, this is an amazing stat, was never called for pass interference or illegal contact the entire season.
That's unheard of. That's just absolutely incredible.
3rd and 7. Here comes a blitz from the corner, and the pass incomplete, intended for Kirby, thrown too low, and once again the 49ers will have to punt.
Well, guess now you got a blitz, now you go man the other time, you go zone underneath. Guess what, that comes back to Fritz Schirmer, their defensive coordinator, changing things up. You can see they're bringing Evans off the corner, they came with a blitz inside with Simmons, and they're going to force Steve Young to have to make quick decisions and use that pain against him.
So Howard will go back again, return the first punt for a touchdown. Packers lead 7-0, and Thompson, who had the highest punting average in 31 years for the 49ers, will kick from inside his 30. Here comes Howard, and he calls for the fair catch at the 31. Very risky will be the fair catches and the possible turnovers today.
Boy, when you are confident, you think you can get anything. See the man behind that cape, that's Steve Young. And where he's gone is into the locker room, which tells me one of two things. He doesn't feel good, number one, and number two, he thinks he's going to have to get another shot. And if that's happening, then Elvis Grbac, your backup, has to get ready to play, which is what he's doing right now.
And when we talked to Grbac yesterday, he appeared supremely confident in case he gets the call today.
Said he approached it like he would start the football game, which was the right mental approach.
First down on the 31-yard line out of the I formation. Brett Favre looking to throw and going deep. He's got Andre Rison down there, and Rison can't hold on to it. Burton Hanks was defending, but Rison had a chance to catch the ball.
Hey, this is a perfect illustration. Watch the field and watch how it affects the game. You see on the inside, you had your footing. Now you get to the outside, down goes Hanks, and the lack of concentration is a drop ball. And that's a potentially huge play that's dropped right here by Andre Rison.
Right off his hands, Andre Rison, who was picked up in November. Remember, Robert Brooks was lost on the first play of the 49er Packer game here in October.
Yep.
Second down and 10. Out of the eye once again. And here is Edgar Bennett. Edgar Bennett, who loves running on a muddy track. On the first running play, picks up 6 yards. So for the Packers, two-time MVP with an NFC record 39 touchdowns, Brett Favre. And up front, Bruce Wilkerson, Aaron Taylor, Frank Winters the center, and Adam Timmerman and Earl Dotson the right tackle. Bennett and Henderson in the backfield. Antonio Freeman and Andre Rison and Mark Shimura, the tight end. We'll use 2 tight ends as well. There's Tim McDonald, the strong safety. See a lot of Keith Jackson at tight end as well. Third down and 4. And this pass nearly intercepted by McDonald.
That took off on Brett Favre. I mean, he had who he wanted, but the ball just took off in his hand. That's a good series for the San Francisco 49ers. You know, they had that punt return. They needed to settle down. Their offense has kind of been out of kilter. They need their defense to keep them here.
And I think getting their first down to Rice was a big factor in them settling down offensively. But now they did the job defensively. So Terry Kirby is back deep, and Craig Hendrick will kick it away. Low snap, but Hendrick recovers nicely. Kirby's going to let it roll, and it will be down at the 11-yard line. 7-0. The Packers lead with 9:09 remaining in the first quarter.
See number 46 right here, Tim McDonald. On the second down play where Edgar Bennett picked up 6 yards, Tim McDonald came up and stuck him. And it's obvious that his left shoulder was hurting. And then the next time around, on the very next play, he had this opportunity, and you have to think that that shoulder comes into play.
So Elvis Grbac has come in at quarterback for the 49ers, and he hands off to William Floyd. And nothing there, no gain on the play. Grbac has played only 2 of the last 6 games for the 49ers, but those were his numbers in Week 7 against the Packers, where he threw 2 touchdown passes and actually played well despite the fact they lost the game.
Yeah, he's played well every time he's been in there. I mean, they have a great amount of confidence in Elvis Grbac, but some things change when Grbac is in the game. Specifically with your offensive line.
Right, and also in the game, Matt, Adrian Cooper, Brent Jones on the sidelines now. 2nd and 8, Kirby, not much there, and that'll bring up 3rd down and long.
And you see the guy right down there in the middle of all that stuff is Gilbert Brown, number 93. You know, I mentioned about Howie Long. Howie Long could always appreciate a good nose tackle or inside man, because everything on your defense works from the inside out. You get a guy who's playing as well as Gilbert Brown is right now, you solidify the middle. You solidify the middle of your defense, you got a shot everywhere else.
And Brown and, of course, Santana Dotson really solidified the tackle positions for the Packers this year. Brings up a 3rd down and 3. 3 wide receivers for the 49ers. Grbac flips it out. Terry Kirby making a good play, but nothing doing.
That's a great play.
Simmons.
Wayne Simmons played that perfectly. You can't do it any better than that. See, Simmons came out. Remember last year in this game,
he played a big game.
He was the player of the game. Watch Wayne Simmons. First thing in the screen, you have to beat the guy in front of you, always. And so you beat Jesse Sapolo first, then you make the tackle.
That was a career game for Wayne Simmons a year ago in the playoff in San Francisco. So now Desmond Howard back deep again, and Tommy Thompson kicking from inside the 5. And a good kick by Thompson. And Howard gets into 49er territory. And here's Desmond Howard again with one man to beat.
Unbelievable.
Desmond Howard gets tripped up at the 10-yard line. And preventing the touchdown was Frankie Smith. Smith prevents a touchdown after the 46-yard return by Howard.
There's a certain amount of confidence, I talked about it earlier, when you get on a roll and you think, not only as a returner, but as a return team, that you can do no wrong. The Green Bay Packers are feeling that right now. I was fortunate enough to have played with two great returners. Tim Brown, when I was at the Raiders, was as good as they came. There's a lot of Tim Brown and Desmond Howard. They have the great confidence. They think they can make any play.
And Tommy Thompson having a rough day.
Yeah, and Thompson missed that tackle, but made the play. See, he made a miss back into two people, and Smith was able to make the tackle.
Desmond Howard having his career revived as a kick returner. Now the Packers with a 1st and goal at the 7. Edgar Bennett gets inside the 5-yard line, and in quickly was Brian Young and Gary Plummer.
Well, you know, we talk about Gilbert Brown on one side of the ball, but then you look at the San Francisco defense, you talk about securing the middle, that's as secure as it gets in the National Football League. Bryant Young, 97, Dana Stubblefield, 94. They're the key to that defense. I mean, they have been since since Young was drafted and teamed up with him.
One seems to feed off the other. 2nd and goal. Packers were 2nd in red zone offense this year. Favre throws. Andre Rison makes the catch for the touchdown. And Rison's leap into the Lambeau crowd. 4-yard pass, and the Packers have increased their lead.
Terry Bradshaw told you that Andre Rison was a wild card in this game. There's the first part that was dealt with the hand of that wild card. The other thing Ronnie Lott was talking about was the red zone defense for the 49ers and how they played them so well through Andre Rison. They found their way with Favre to beat it.
And Chris Jackie's extra point is good. So Andre Rison, who caught his first touchdown pass in a Packer uniform in the final regular season game against the Vikings, he's fitted with them well now.
I want you to watch how he gets his touchdown. You see all this stuff? You see how long it's taking to develop? You know what that tells you on the front side? Favre had time to throw the ball. And then that kind of pattern plays perfectly into what Rison does. Because that was mostly all a street move right there. You know, and so, you know, when you get down, you're down 14 points, and your backup is in, forget it. You know, this is the playoff. Steve Young comes back onto the field, I'm assuming with a little bit more juice shoved in him to kill that pain. He's going to go out there like a trooper.
Remember a year ago, the 49ers got into an early hole when Adam Walker fumbled the first play from scrimmage on a hit by Wayne Simmons, and then before you knew it, the Packers led 21-0.
Well, they're down. The 49ers are down 14-0. Both of these teams said, both head coaches, that we have to have a fast start. And I think because of the field right now, the field's as good as it's going to be. As the game goes on, this field will get worse. It's going to be even harder to score points.
When it's frozen, they have coils underneath, but they didn't need it today with the temperatures above the freezing mark. Kickoff by Hendrick sails into the end zone, and the 49ers will start from the 20 once again. And tomorrow, it'll be interesting. The Carolina Panthers, of all teams, the NFC West champions, entertain the defending Super Bowl champion Dallas Cowboys.
I think that one is going to be a great one. You see, it's the first team the Panthers unbeaten at home. They really play well, but don't count out the Dallas Cowboys. They have an ability to focus, and they've been doing it all year long. I tell you, the rest of the league is sitting out there going, uh-oh, let's keep our eye on those Cowboys.
Don Capers, the coach of the year. Elvis Gerbach remains in the game as the 49ers now trailing 14-0. Start again from the 20. Brent Jones in motion, started split to the right, and Gerbach's pass is intercepted by Eugene Robinson. But a flag is down, and that play will not count.
Yeah, it's going to go against the San Francisco 49ers, and they should be thankful for this flag.
Dick Hantak, our referee today.
Play prior to the snap. False start. Offense, number 74. 5-yard
Steve
penalty.
Wallace.
Still first down.
That's a good penalty for San Francisco.
Yeah, it is. There's Steve Wallace. He's wearing seeing his bubblehead right there on the top. You're going to watch him right down here working over Sean Jones. And talking to Steve Wallace, he was telling us that it was so obvious and apparent. There was just that little bit of movement right there. That Sean Jones's game was up. He said he had to play his best game.
First down and 15 following the penalty. Gerbach passing out to the right, and the catch is made out of the backfield by William Floyd. And speaking of the Carolina-Dallas matchup, right now for a McDonald's game break, let's return to James Brown at our Fox Television Center.
Hey, Dick, Matt talked about eyes on the Cowboys. They'll be on that man, the all-time leader in playoff rushing touchdowns, Emmitt Smith, who will be going against the top 2 sack leaders in the NFL, Kevin Green and Lamar Lathan of the Panthers. That's tomorrow, right here on Fox. Back to Dick and Matt.
Well, that Lamar Lathan and Kevin Green, they gave Steve Young fits when they played him in both games. And I think you have to remember the experience that Carolina has, which is one of the big reasons that they're in tomorrow's game.
4 wide receivers on 2nd and 11, and the pass intended for Jerry Rice on a crossing pattern is incomplete. Doug Evans was defending.
Hey, remember last year in this playoff game, they crowded everybody at the line of scrimmage. You see all this? Watch Doug Evans right here. See, they're not going to let Jerry Rice beat him. You heard our pregame show talking about getting tight coverage and having a man on him. See what they're going to do there. They are not going to let him beat him, so they get up there, they get hands on him, disrupt the timing, and use all the stuff that San Francisco does against them.
3rd down and 11. With less than 5.5 minutes remaining in the first quarter. Gerbach rolling out, pass, and it is ruled incomplete, intended for Brent Jones. Jones thought he had it, but that will bring up 4th down, and once again, the 49ers will have to kick it away.
And I'm going to tell you a little secret right now about that guy right there. See, it shouldn't say Howard on the back of his jersey. What it should say is Wolf, because Ron Wolf, the general manager, was the only guy who had confidence to put him back here and knew he could do this.
And Howard with 117 yards to only 29 for the entire 49er offense. So Tommy Thompson again kicking deep in his own territory, and Howard is not going to attempt to run this back. It'll be stopped at the 39-yard line of Green Bay. Well, tomorrow night, go inside the mile. So far, this game has been all Green Bay as the Packers earned home field advantage. Remember, they have never lost a playoff game here at Lambeau Field and have won 9 straight.
Harris Barton, and seeing his left ear right there, they have those special made earplugs fit for every offensive line. You see it right there? See, what it does is it muffles all the periphery sound and lets them focus on the quarterback's cadence.
Both wide receivers split left. First down at the 38. Edgar Bennett. Edgar Bennett gets 12 yards. Marquez Pope brings him down. Bennett with a 100-yard game in his last contest against the Vikings.
He is running like a man possessed. And he is running extremely hard. And this was part of the plan that Mike Holmgren had for Edgar Bennett. Edgar Bennett was a little bit down because Dorsey Levin started to run well, and he's his backup. And he says, look, I want to play. But the fact of the matter is, he's at this time of the season, and he's healthy.
Packers with a first down. Just shy of midfield, and again they go to Bennett. And Edgar Bennett gets to the 45-yard line. And right now, let's take a look at the 49ers defense, which has been on the field so far. Chris Dolman, Dana Stubblefield, Brian Young, and Roy Barker. Dolman and Barker, good additions this year. Plummer, Ken Norton Jr., and Lee Woodall, the linebackers. Marquez Pope, Burton Hanks, Tim McDonald, and Tyrone Drakeford in the secondary. It'll be second down and 5 Packers have it on the 49er 45. Levens is in the game along with Don Beebe as the third wide receiver for Green Bay. And a bobble ball, and Brett Favre will pick it up. And Favre took a chance by running with it after he had recovered it the first time, and the loss of about 4 yards on the play. Make it 9 yards on the play. Packers have not lost a fumble in the last 5 postseason games, but in this kind of weather, Matt, you know, that could go down the drain.
So to speak. A little bit of rain out there, get a little drain ski going. Tell you what's happening right now. There is a huge chess match going on between the sidelines. Mike Holmgren is putting people outside, trying to maneuver the San Francisco defense to try to get them into position so he can take advantage of the running game with Edgar Bennett. Pete Carroll, the defensive coordinator, matching wits with Holmgren.
Third down and 14. Dorsey Levens finds some running room. And the Packers have learned one thing, Matt, that they're able to run the ball up the middle so far on the 49ers.
Yeah, they're running right at Stubblefield and Young. And now 49er is down.
9-yard gain by Dorsey Levens. And it appears that Brian Young may be the injured player down.
Boy, if that's the case, that really, really hurts San Francisco. I mean, he's one, forget defensive guys. He's one of the premier players in the National Football League. And that is Brian Young.
Headed for the Pro Bowl, Nonpareil is a defensive tackle in this league.
Not only that, there's nobody even close.
As well. I thought your Penn State education taught you Nonpareil in your senior year.
That's as far as it got. Picture Bryant Young. I tell you, Bryant Young feeds off of Dana Stubblefield, and Stubblefield feeds off of Bryant Young.
Still no word on Steve Young, but he's on the sidelines. We'll take a timeout.
American Express.
Now is Brian Young trying to get to his feet. He was really shaken up and still hasn't been able to get up.
I just want to see what's going on. See, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys in the box. See, and so they spread everybody out outside, and they're making them deploy people on the perimeter so that they can attack back inside and run the football. And it's a nice job by the inside 3 of the Packers. There's also, obviously, it was 3rd and 14, and they stopped them, so that's good defense by the 49ers.
And Brian Young tried to walk off and fell down. So this is a lot more serious than it first appeared.
Yeah, that's not a good sign. The 49ers have had a bunch of injuries. And remember, the last time they played them, they had, I think, 5 guys that were injured that they're playing now, which they thought was in their favor. But then they came into this game, and then it was the Young thing, and it's obvious Steve Young's not the same. And then Brent Jones got the flu when he was down in Arizona where they were practicing this week. Talked to him before the game, and he's not 100%. And then Dahlman, their right guard, he got banged up, and so he's not 100%. You know what? This is Bryant Young after they picked him up and they started taking him to the sideline. He couldn't make it. And it looks like that's not good.
That's a critical loss, of course, for the 49ers. And you mentioned Brent Jones. He suffered a twisted knee when the 49ers were in Arizona in workouts this week, as well as the flu.
You're going to watch Bryant Young, number 97. It's right here. See, he gets in, and he comes off that block. It's a great play. I don't know what has this.
They're going to bring the stretcher on now.
And it happened right away, too. I mean, you can see, as soon as he was down on the ground, he just went back to his bat. I hate to see this. And you just hate to see in any game, you forget who it is and how it happened. It just bugs you. As a player, when you're on the field, you try not to look at the guys down on the field because you know it's just one play away from being you.
And right now, let's get an update on Steve Young's condition. Let's go down to Pam Oliver.
Well, I think what we know now about Steve Young is that he was in so much pain when he went back into the locker room that he wasn't able to bark out the signals to the team. So he will stay out for another series, so watch him. We were watching him in warm-up. He isn't able to even bend over with that uncomfortable flak jacket on. We'll keep an eye on that. Back to you.
All right, Pam, and of course, when you have that rib injury, I guess it's hard to breathe, it's hard to talk, and all those things.
Man, if you've ever had a rib, I mean anything from cartilage to a cracked rib to a deep bruise to a I mean, they're just brutal. You can't sneeze, you can't yell, you can't sit up. It's hard to bend over. They're one of the most painful things. Now, he came out in the paper last week and said that he took a couple dozen shots at the halftime of their game in San Francisco. Nobody has ever questioned Steve Young's toughness. Sometimes they question his common sense.
Well, pound for pound, he's got to be the toughest player in the National Football League. I mean, he's had all sorts of injuries this year. His groin, he's had a concussion. Of course, the latest was the rib injury when he scored the touchdown against the Eagles last week. But now it's in the hands of Gerbach, but Paul settling over the 49ers with the injury here to Brian Young.
Well, and I think it was universally understood that there wasn't going to be a lot of points scored in this game. So for San Francisco to be down by 14 at this point, that's not a good sign for the 49ers.
Let's again try to see if we can pick up the injury to number 97.
You're going to watch him right there, and he's going to get into Adam Timmerman. Now watch the great strength. Lowers his hips. He does everything perfect. Get rid of the block. That's getting off the block. And he comes over. He gets in on that tackle. It's hard to even say what happened, but he knew it right there. I mean, you can see down there, as soon as it happened, he knew something was wrong.
While we have a moment, chance to remind you that this game was presented by authority of the National Football League and is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the expressed written consent of the Green Bay Packers and the National Football League is strictly prohibited. So all of a sudden, everything has stopped here at Lambeau Field. All the noise and all the pomp have come to a dead halt because of the injury to Brian Young, who now is being lifted onto the stretcher. Packers are leading by a score of 14-0. Desmond Howard returning a punt 71 yards for a touchdown for the first score, and then following a 46-yard punt return by Howard, Brett Favre hit Andre Rison with a 4-yard pass in the back of the end zone to account for the 2 Green Bay scores.
You know, when you're down by 14,
they're looking at his neck and his back. The report is from the field.
There's Desmond Howard. We were just talking about him with Ron Wolf and how Ron Wolf thought he saw something in Desmond Howard that could be used, and where he thought his niche would be was in that punt return game. And, you know, Desmond Howard got drafted by the Washington Redskins, and I was there, and, you know, we watched him, and then they were disappointed with him. They were disappointed in his breakaway speed and his flat-out, on-the-clock speed. But when you're back there as a returner, your heart is a bigger asset than your legs.
Former Heisman Trophy winner.
Yeah, and sometimes you have to have a couple screws loose to be able to do some of the things you do back there, and I think he qualifies for that too.
As well as play linebacker.
Well, I don't know about that. I think probably afterwards you kind of do that.
Brian Young being wheeled off on the stretcher. Now we're back to play, and Craig Hendrick will be kicking. His first punt went 52 yards. Terry Kirby back to return for the 49ers. High snap, but Hendrick gets it off. Kirby fields it on the 12, breaks a tackle, and is down at the 20-yard line by Mark Shimura.
You hear the crowd going, chew for Chewy.
He has been a big factor, as has Keith Jackson. A very big weapon for the Packers to have 2 tight ends who can catch as well as both of them can.
And only one of them will run down on special teams and make tackles, and that's Chimura. So now you're down by 14. You're San Francisco. You know you don't run the football effectively to begin with. You still have to be able to go with it to set up your play action stuff, because if you just come completely one-dimensional throwing the football, you're a lot easier to defend.
49ers come out with 3 wide receivers on first down from the 21. Elvis Gerbach. And his pass dropped by Terrell Owens. and covered by Doug Evans. It was right into Owens' hands, but he couldn't hold on. This set the point tone of the game early on when Desmond Howard returned the first punt with less than 3 minutes gone by, 71 yards for a touchdown. Desmond Howard gave the Packers a 7-0 lead.
And then the thing about it was he had some help, but he did a lot of that on his own. He made 3 people miss.
Second down and 10. Gerback up the middle, and he's got Jerry Rice. And Rice close to a 49er first down with Robinson and Butler defending.
And the thing you're going to notice right there is they had time to throw the football. That means that offensive line is giving him the protection that he needs. I mentioned there are some things different with Elvis Gerback with that offensive line that you have to be aware of. Gerback drops deeper than Steve Young, and so you have to make adjustments with your offensive line in terms of their drop. Then the other thing is Gerback gets rid of the ball a little bit quicker than does Steve. Sometimes Steve will hold it and then take off and run. Gerback goes back to get rid of it quick.
It is a San Francisco first down. Ihani Uwezike in motion on 1st and 10. Here is Brent Jones, and Wayne Simmons wrestle him out of bounds. So the 49ers, with their best rhythm offensively, pick up 8 yards on that play.
Well, you know, we spoke with Elvis Gerback last night, and I asked him about Brent Jones, and he said he had the flu and he had a knee that was banged up and had to leave practice. He said, you know, Matt, he said he's our biggest, he's going to be a big part of our offense. We need him to move the chains. We know they're going to try to take away Jerry Rice. Brent Jones is the guy who's really moved our offense along.
Right now, the Niners are shuttling in their tight ends, and they only have 2 today. Jones goes out, replaced by Adrian Cooper. Second down and 2, and here's Tommy Vardell, and he won't make it. They'll be shy by about a yard, and that was Brian Williams, the linebacker, and, of course, your favorite, Gilbert Brown.
Gilbert Brown right in there. I mean, the 2 guys have really elevated their game. Watch number 93 right here, Gilbert Brown. Talk about holding the point and having something to work off of. He just takes Jesse Sapolo, throws him to the side. Now he can get in on that tackle because on the outside, the other guy, and that's Harris Barton who's down now, the other guy on the outside, Sean Jones, played that run perfectly and forced it back inside.
49ers, not a good running team, and this weather makes it even worse, I'm sure, especially without Steve Young and the shaken up players who pointed out Harris Barton, the right tackle, who had his injury problems earlier this season.
Man, he's been playing all season long with a bad hip. I mean, he's been playing with a hurt hip and beat up. Last time they played, Harris Barton just played a spectacular game against Reggie White. 49ers need a healthy Harris Barton, and that's not a good sign. You're going to watch him right up top, right here, number 79, Harris Barton. He's going to just look down inside to cut off somebody. He gets into the backer. And he told me before the game that the hardest part for him was to get any kind of power pushing off of that hip. And now Kurt Strafford, 76, comes in for him.
4-man line for the Packers on 3rd down and 1 at the 40-yard line. And Gerback trapped behind the line, and Sean Jones gets to him. And a loss on the play of about a yard, and a flag is down. There was a penalty marker down as Harris Barton being tended to over on the Niners sideline.
That was going to go against the 49ers. Looks like they moved.
5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
Desmond Howard getting ready to get back in.
Heck, he's been running so much. He's running on the sidelines.
He's been kind of a one-man gang for Green Bay thus far. They're looking at Harris Barton's right ankle as you look at Fritz Schirmer, the defensive guru for this Green Bay team. And what a job he's done.
He's as good as it gets in this league.
3rd down and 6 following the penalty. Pressure on Gerback, being chased by Butler. And Elvis Gerback runs for the first down and goes out of bounds at the 46-yard line. Gain of 12 yards.
You know, the other thing you forget about Elvis Gerback is he is a lot more mobile than people think. And so what happens, they come with the blitz, and then they take a chance and go underneath. Gerback sees that right away, and because of the coverage, everybody's manned up because of the blitz. Gerback just takes off and runs where no one is.
It's interesting, Matt, is the 49ers have really settled down on both sides of the ball, even though they find themselves in a 14-0 hole.
Well, and they know what they have, and we talked about that at the beginning of the game. You don't know what you have with your quarterback and injuries, but you do know what you do have with your defense and Gerbach.
And that is the end of the first quarter here at Lambeau Field, with the Packers leading the 49ers 14-0. Second quarter, Dick Stockton, Matt Millen, Pam Oliver. The Packers lead 14-0. Steve Young limbering up again, taking off his cape.
Look, it looks like he got extra rib protection in there now. Remember, we showed him in the pregame. It looks like he put rib protectors on top of his rib protectors.
Interesting that in the last 4 playoff games, the leading rusher for the 49ers been quarterback Steve Young. But today, Elvis Gerbach with that 12-yard scamper. And the 49ers begin the second quarter with a first down on their 47-yard line. Gerbach going deep for Terrell Owens, who drops it. So Owens, the rookie, can't hold on for the second time.
Yeah, but see, that's something right there that Steve Young couldn't do. And he wouldn't be able to push the ball down the field. You can see what happened with Steve Young.
Chin laceration during week 1, strained his groin in week 2. And then he had 2 concussions. This was the first of 2 at Houston. And last week he suffered the bruised ribs, which occurred on his 9-yard touchdown run in the second quarter.
Well, he's a battler, and he'll keep on coming. And I'm telling you, the fight is still in him over there. He's going to come right back in now.
Second and 10. And Gerbach trying to hold on was Uwezike. Ihani Uwezike, another rookie wide receiver. He's out of the University of California. Matt, the first quarter statistics.
Well, you're going to look at the stats, and the thing that's going to really, you can see time of possession, all that stuff. Look at passing yards here for the Packers. Not -5. Remember, that was when Favre had that fumble, came back. None of that really plays as much as Desmond Howard. Desmond Howard has been the whole game so far. The one for a touchdown, and then the other one had put him in a position on the floor to go in.
Amazing time of possession edge that the 49ers have, yet they're trailing by 2 touchdowns. Third and 10. Pressure on Gerbach, and his pass is caught by Terrell Owens. A flag is down. It'll be a first down if the penalty is not against San Francisco.
Well, Reggie White and Santana Dotson got in there so fast. I think they're going to get him on the hold, and they do.
That'll nullify the first down. Penalties have hurt the 49ers thus far.
Watch Santana Dotson right here and Reggie White down here. They go so quick. They beat Dahlman quick right there. And then White goes around the other side, and they're going to throw the flag right in the middle of that.
Some penalties hurt more than others, and that nullifies a 12-yard completion.
Hey, you know, we talk about Gilbert Brown, but Santana Dotson was the other guy in there that really boosted this defense, because he might be the slipperiest defensive tackle in this league.
Here's Steve Young. He badly wants to get back into this game. Third down and 20. White trying to put pressure, and here is Terry Kirby out of the backfield. And Kirby will just barely get back to the original line of scrimmage. Wayne Simmons again. A gain of 6.
This is the most fired up I've ever seen. Reggie White's running around there like a cheerleader. He's pumping the crowd up, and he's rushing off the corner, and he can smell that they have something special here.
What does it mean to Reggie White to get to a Super Bowl? That's why he came to Green Bay, hoping someday the Packers might get there.
Guy has never won a championship at any level he's ever played at. And I'm sick of calling him loser all the time.
You're the only one that can do that. Tommy Thompson kicking, and Desmond Howard will let it bounce. And it'll go out of bounds.
Yeah, they're going to bring that back to where it was first touch, so they'll get a better spot out of this.
27-yard line. We'll be right back.
NFC Divisional Playoff Special is brought to you by Chrysler and the cab-forward sedans of Chrysler. What's new in your world? By Budweiser, now appearing in a fridge near you. Bud Bowl 97, Battle in the Bayou. By American Express, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, American Express helps you do more. And by McDonald's, home of the deluxe sandwiches. They're McDonald's with a grown-up taste.
That Cheesehead factory does great business, Matt Millen.
And so does the state of Wisconsin for cheese. I mean, they've got tons of cheese here. They got fireman cheese heads. They got regular cheese heads. They got all kinds of cheese things here. You know, the state of Wisconsin is the largest producer of cheese in the world. I mean, it beats every other country.
Even the vendors are wearing cheese heads today. Junior Bryant replaces Bryant Young, the injured defensive tackle for the Niners, who was taken off on a stretcher. We have not gotten a report on Bryant Young's condition or any further word on Steve Young, although we have seen with Young warming up that looks like he's anxious to get back into the game. And first down for the Packers on the 28-yard line. There is Reggie White, who ironically said he came to the Packers because of Brett Favre. That's how much confidence he had in him.
That guy, he said he watched Favre played against him and knew he could be what he has become.
4 wide receivers for the Packers on first down, and Dorsey Levens has nowhere to go and gets maybe a yard.
Look at this Green Bay Packer team, and all season long, the one area that's been a problem for him has been left tackle. And they tried Kenny Rutgers, and they thought they'd have something, and he retired. And John Michael, the rookie they drafted, Bruce Wilkerson is a right tackle. They've moved him over to the left side. You can see he's played 10 years. He's been in big games before. He was with the Raiders. He has good size. When he has problems, it's funny, he'll revert to that right side again, and his feet will get a little bit messed up.
Gets confusing. Packers have used 4 left tackles this year. Second down and 9. Favre looking to throw, and he completes it to Andre Rison just short of the first down. And right now, let's check in with Pam Oliver.
All right, Dick, what we know about Steve Young, those bruised ribs are giving him trouble. His return is questionable. As for Bryant Young, he's still back in the locker room. Team doctors are looking at his neck and his back. That's all we know. We'll send it back to you.
All right, Pam, thank you very much. Right now, the
that's
Packers,
not a good sign for neck and back injuries, especially when he got up and went back down.
They're taking x-rays of that neck and back. Third down and 1. 2 tight ends for the Packers and a quarterback sneak, and Brett Favre has the first down up to the 40.
Yeah, see, you know, they're attacking San Francisco. It's really surprising me. I mean, that time they go right up the middle. But even before Bryant Young went out of the game, they were running right inside at those 2 tackles. When that happens, that tells me that Aaron Taylor, 73, Frank Winters, right in the middle, the center, 52, and then Timmerman, 63, are getting the job done.
First down for the Packers at the 40-yard line. Tight formation, wide receivers to the right, and a play fake, rollout. Barker on the rush, and the pass completed to Keith Jackson at the 44-yard line, short of the first down by about 6.
You know, last year, and then this year in the Monday night game earlier in the season, they tried to take away, the 49ers tried to take away the outside receivers. Then Robert Brooks got hurt the very first play. It kind of put Green Bay kind of in a tizzy. But where they were able to come back and get into the rhythm was through their tight ends. Keith Jackson and Mark Chmura picked the slack up. And now, with Andre Rison out there and Freeman, those 2 guys really have even a bigger role.
That was Robert Brooks on the sideline, and the pass caught by Antonio Freeman. First down, Green Bay, and the first catch by Freeman today. Gain of 8 yards. Freeman, who was out for 4 games, has come back big in the latter stages of the year.
And he broke that forearm, and he said that now with that cast, he's been able to concentrate better. And that's been a problem for him, because what he really was is a body catcher. He still has a tendency to do that. And when you start to be a body catcher with a guy like Brett Favre, who throws with so much speed, a lot of them will bounce out off your pads. So by concentrating and using your hands a little bit more, you can be a lot more effective.
Packers in 49er territory at the 48. First down, and Edgar Bennett is stopped in his tracks. And that was Dana Stubblefield on the play.
Stubblefield made the tackle. The guy who made that play was Lee Woodall, who they lined up outside, and then they came on the blitz. And then he took on the fullback, William Henderson. You're going to see he's going to come right in here. Here he comes, 54. Watch this. boom, stuffs him right there. And because he stuffs him, there's no movement. Then they can just get right there and rally and make the tackle. Tell you, that Lee Woodall, you can run at him sometime because he's not very big at 220. But he's an excellent blitzer, and you cannot get around him. That guy can flat out run.
Loss of 2 on the play brings up 2nd down and 12. Bennett and Levens are the split backs.
Put it down dry, Winter.
And you heard the umpire say, let's put a dry one in there.
See, it's up to, remember, there's 36 balls allotted to outdoor games, 18 and a half. Now, it's up to the center to request a ball. And then it's up to the umpire to grant that request. So you'll come up to the line of scrimmage. If Frank Winters, the center, doesn't like it, or Jesse Sapolo, tell you what, the front looks a lot better than the back. And he can get up there. If he don't like the way it feels, then he just goes to the umpire and make that request. Now, if the clock gets down too low, the umpire will kick it back up, which they're doing right now. They're going to kick the clock back to 10 seconds. If it isn't down low, then they'll just stop it there and then continue from that point of play.
So they have a dry football, and Frank Winters is satisfied. And here is the 2nd and 12 play. Barr over the middle to Dorsey Levens. And Levens. The tackle is made by Gary Plummer, preventing a bigger gain, a gain of 5 on the play.
I'll tell you, that Gary Plummer is one of the most consistent inside linebackers in this league, and he's played for a long, long time. Stays in tremendous shape. He's a great studier. When you come to play against Plummer, you're going to have to beat him physically because he's not going to let his, the mental part beat you.
3rd down and 7, and the Packers will have 4 wide receivers. This is the 8th play of the drive. Green Bay leading 14-0. Barr looking right, and he completes the pass to Levens, and the running back with a 1st down inside the 35-yard line. A pickup of 11, and it was Ken Norton Jr. downfield defending.
And that's just a great throw by Brett Favre because the coverage was good. They went man everywhere, and then they took their safeties for help behind. Now, Favre sees it. He has time to throw the football, and the ball comes out right. I'll tell you, in a field like this, as a linebacker, you know that by body position you have to take away the inside, but you're kind of giving up the outside, and that's where Levens beat him.
And Favre has completed his last 6 passes. Packers on the 34 of San Francisco. And Dorsey Levens, this time for a couple. A versatile back. As you mentioned before, Levens has given Bennett a boost this year.
See Roy Barker over there? See, this is the difference. I want you to watch up top. And that's Keith Jackson. And this is what Keith Jackson doesn't do very well. He's not very good at that at all. That's blocking. They brought him in here to catch the ball. And when they bring him in, he becomes almost a liability at the line of scrimmage because if you put Roy Barker over Jackson, Barker's got to win that one. You put him over Chimura, then the Packers think Chimura's got to win that one.
Packers now with 1 back. Both Bennett and Levens have been effective. Here's a screen to Don Beebe. And making the play was Steve Israel. Israel involved in the penalties in the later stages of their game earlier in the year.
Hey, now remember we talked about how they're spreading people out all over the place? So they go do the same thing. Spread them out. They fake it inside, and then they try to throw a screen outside. And that's a nice defensive play out there by Israel. And then the other thing is when you're head coach, it happens right in front of you. And there's nothing you can do except maybe give a little bit of that Ursula body language, which he does.
And he does it quite often. So 3rd down and 8. Ball at the 32. They get the play off in time. And Favre's pass to number 85, Terry Mickens, is incomplete, and that will bring up 4th down.
Now, this is interesting. With the way this Packer defense has been playing, Mike Holmgren is going to go for it. Now they send on the kicker. It's interesting at that point of the field, with the way his defense had been playing, there was a little bit of thought process of whether he should send Hendrick out or not. but you're up by 14, and if you can pin them back there a little bit more, you go back to that field position game again.
That's what Hendrick's going to try to do. He needed 8 yards, and that's risky in these conditions. So Craig Hendrick just with a pooch kick. Fair catch called for by Kirby, who loses the ball. And we'll see what the signal is.
Well, I'll tell you, there's a fight going on. Tyrone Williams thinks that it's going to be Packer ball.
Well, both teams always signal their way.
Well, that would be a muff, not a fumble, because he never had control of it. But hey, look at Pryor coming out the back. He's going to state his case hard. Now there is going to be a lot of arguing going on down there.
And it is recovered by the 49ers. So despite Mike Pryor's efforts in the middle of that huddle, the 49ers did recover after Kirby muffed that kick.
Right through his arm. There's Bernardo Harris, 55, Cox, 54. That's a good call. You can see right there.
But the Packers got what they want out of it, as the 49ers, when we come back, will start inside the 10. 49ers have had to punt in their first 5 possessions, and this will be their worst starting field position as they trail 14-0.
5 possessions, only 50 total yards. Dick, I got to tell you, there is not a better place to do a football game than right here at Lambeau Field. Listen to this.
First down from the 9-yard line, and Kirby trying to go wide, and a whistle blown and a flag before the play. Harris Barton, by the way, has come back in the game at right tackle.
Prior to the snap, offense, number 79.
And it was Barton. Guilty of false start. Right now, let's send it down to Pam.
Well, Dick, Bryant Young is still in the locker room. I had a chance to talk with 49ers Vice President Dwight Clark, who visited with Young. He said he's having some difficulty actually squeezing his right hand. There is some weakness in there. It is still to be determined whether or not they're going to take him to the hospital. They're trying to determine if the Packers have sufficient X-ray equipment on hand. Back to you.
Thank you, Pam. First down and 14 following the penalty, and the handoff to Kirby. And Kirby gets a couple. Santana Dotson gets 2 yards. And right now for a McDonald's game break, let's return to JB. James Brown at our Fox Television Center.
All right, Dick, we all recall the game that safety George Teague had last week. A big game, including that pick return for a touchdown. He'll take his skills in the battle against Kerry Collins, preparing for the biggest game of his professional career as the Panthers host the Cowboys. Yes, indeed. It's coming up tomorrow on Fox. Back to Dick and Matt.
All right, JB. Phenomenal 12-4 regular season for the Carolina Panthers. 2nd and 12. Niners on the 7th. And again, they keep it on the ground. William Floyd. And Floyd is tripped up by Brian Williams. Will bring up 3rd down and long.
And it got Reggie White blocked, which they had to do, but then they couldn't outrun the speed of the Green Bay Packer defense. You know, so many times teams do not run at Reggie White. And so defensively, you get to thinking that you're going the other side all the time. This time Harris Barton does a nice job down inside, and Reggie White gets caught inside, but then here comes the troops from the inside out. I tell you, Williams, he can flat out run. And this defense here has been built for power inside with Gilbert Brown, and then the backers with their speed with Williams to run.
And they all can run, those linebackers. They're the total yards by the 49ers, and a timeout called by San Francisco. That is their 2nd timeout of this first half. 5:13 remaining. Still 14-0 Green Bay. Our Aflac trivia question today: who holds the record for passing yards at Lambeau Field? We'll have the answer coming up shortly. 49ers with a 3rd down and 10 at the 9-yard line, and already Desmond Howard may be licking his chops. He has been the key to this game with a 71-yard punt return for a score and a 46-yard punt return to set up the 2nd Green Bay touchdown. Elvis Gerback getting pressure from Brown, and the pass intercepted by Newsome on a deflection. He fumbles, and the scramble begins.
And remember, if San Francisco gets that back, that's a first down. Because there was possession in between.
The initial indication is that it is recovered by the 49ers. That was what the head linesman indicated.
That would be a first down. The interception meant that possession went to Green Bay. And then he starts to take off and run. He fumbles. Now, if San Francisco would pick that up, it would be a first down for San Francisco.
Dick Hantak. And he might have changed the call. I'm talking about the head linesman. Hantak, the referee, will explain it to us definitively. And it appears to be Green Bay's ball.
We have an interception by the defense. Fumbled on the return. Recovered by the defense. First and down, Green Bay.
So the Packers get the ball back. The pass was deflected off the hands of Terrell Owens into the hands of Craig Newsome, who then fumbled.
It came out of Terrell Owens, and Newsome was right there. It was a second drop. And then watch Jerry Rice. He goes down, but you don't stop playing. So you got to try to make a play. Now the ball gets down there. Ooh. And then it's a free for all.
That's exactly what it was.
Ooh.
I never heard you say ooh before.
Tell you one thing, the officials have been right on top of the game today. And you love to see when there's a big game that the officials can rise to the same occasion.
Well, Brett Favre has had 2 short fields today. First down on the 14, and Dorsey Levens following the blocking of Adam Timmerman. And Merton Hanks making the tackle, and a gain of about 3. Rain continues to fall, overcast, and the weather forecast that it might change to snow before the end of the day. Temperatures started out at about 37, 38 and have been dropping since the start. And here is the ambulance that is taking Brian Young to the hospital.
So I guess what Pam said about not having the best of facilities here at Lambeau, they opt to take him to the hospital, which they should do.
2nd and 6. Edgar Bennett, the one back. Favre has Bennett up the middle. Edgar Bennett still on his feet and fights his way down to about the 2, maybe the 1.
He is playing his heart out, that Edgar Bennett. Remember what Ronnie Lott talked about in that pregame show about the last time these two teams played, the 49er defense dominated the red zone and held them really just to field goal. And this time around, like Terry Bradshaw said, they were going to look down the field and then throw back underneath. And this is exactly what Bradshaw was talking about. They push everybody on the field. Bennett comes out from underneath, boom, gets thrown under, and then, boy, he's just playing his heart out. This is as hard as I've seen him play.
First and goal from the 2. Bennett remains in there. 2 tight ends for the Packers. Shimura in motion, and Edgar Bennett walks in for the touchdown.
They ran right at the strength of the 49er defense. And again, Edgar Bennett's getting that score, but you have to look at those inside guys who are making the block. They have Frank Winters in there and Adam Timmerman, 63. Just coming off the ball, that's a great job of getting people to the ground. I tell you, Aaron Taylor had the key because it looked like Gary Plummer was coming clean, and he just cut him at the end. And that allowed Bennett through.
Chris Jackie with the extra point. So just as it was a year ago in San Francisco, Bennett with his 2-yard run, and the Packers lead 21-0 over the 49ers.
Hey, I want you to watch what San Francisco does. They move both these tackles outside. They bring both backers up inside. Dana Stubblefield has a chance, but runs right by him, and a nice job right there. You see that? It was Aaron Taylor who just got to the legs of the linebacker Plummer, and that allowed him to go in untouched.
Hendrick kicking off to Derek Lavelle, who fields it on the 9. And Lavelle, with a good return, brings it out beyond the 30-yard line. Once again, our Aflac Trivia question today: who holds the Lambeau Field record for most passing yards in a game? The answer is former 49er quarterback Joe Montana, threw for 411 yards back in 1990. And Matt, you were there.
Yeah, I was a member of the 49ers, and Montana was just unbelievable. And I got a call this week trying to compare Joe Montana, the last person to win back-to-back MVPs, and Brett Favre. And the thing that it makes some difference is Favre had a stronger arm, but Montana could see things that didn't exist, and Favre has to get to that level.
And he just might. Starting from the 31-yard line, pass underneath to William Floyd, and Floyd is tackled after a game of about 4 yards. Well, how can you have an all-Madden doubleheader on Fox? Well, it all starts on Sunday, January 19th at 5 p.m. Eastern and Pacific, when the coach reveals his much-anticipated Little Caesars 14th annual All-Madden team. Then, kick off Fox's Super Sunday on January 26th at 1 p.m. Eastern, when John and 39 of the NFL's greatest players bring you the Outback Steakhouse all-time All-Madden Super Bowl team on Fox. Brent Jones on the play, and it must have been great to see those great players in their uniforms in that all-time All-Madden.
Dick, I'm going to tell you something. See this right here, that all-time All-Madden tape? I think you should take your VCRs and tape that thing, because there's some people on there you're never going to see again together. And it was just a special time.
William Floyd drops the pass wide open over the middle. That was kind of a once-in-a-lifetime gathering, you might say, of some of the greats of all time. And you wonder how many of these all-time Packer greats here in the Ring of Fame at Lambeau Field made that team of John Madden.
Well, I mean, there's some names up there, but I'll tell you, I could tell you who they are, but then, you know, they don't have to kill you.
Don't spoil it.
Can't do that.
Don't spoil it.
You know, Madden says that it was one of the greatest experiences he's ever had as a coach or a broadcaster. So it sounds like it's a special one.
2nd and 10 at the 41. Gerbat swings it out, and this time Kirby makes a one-handed catch. He'll be short of the first down by maybe 7 yards as Butler makes the tackle. And our 2-minute warning here at Lambeau Field, with the Packers leading by 3 touchdowns.
The
2-minute warning. Desmond Howard has been a hero so far on the left, and Mike Holmgren told us that special teams and field position would be pivotal. The special teams of Desmond Howard with a punt return for a touchdown and a 46-yarder. Great field position for the Packers. That's been the story in their 21-0 lead. 3rd down and 7 on the 44 for the Niners. Elvis Gerbat rolling out, and the pass tipped away, and it was Leroy Butler. And now Gerbat is complaining to the official, and vehemently at that.
Well, that there was a hit when he was out of bounds.
But no flag was thrown.
No, and that's a good job by Hantak at staying on top of everything. It looked like Gerbat was throwing underneath the Owens, and the ball got knocked down, and then watch the end, right? See, there came the hit, and he just took him into the sideline.
So here's Desmond Howard going back deep again. He has been the key for the Packers today. Tommy Thompson to punt. Under 2 minutes remaining, and Howard is going to let it roll.
Oh, that could be a fumble right there. That man hit Lamont Hollingquist 56, and if it did, that's a fumble and 49ers football.
They're indicating that it's their ball, and Chris Hayes, and Hollingquist was over, and it's San Francisco ball. A break for the 49ers.
And look who got it, Curtis Buckley, the guy who had gotten abused earlier. Now watch, it's a bad kick, so you start yelling, get away, and it right there.
It hit him on the back of the foot. And it was Hayes.
It was Hayes.
And Buckley recovered. And Buckley recovers it. Remember, the 49ers have only one timeout, and this is their best opportunity to cash in so far today. Certainly understated the best field position.
Oh, Dick, listen, if they're going to have their chance, and this is their chance right here. If they can go in at 21-7, they got themselves a real good shot in the second half.
They're on the 25, play fake. And Gerbach going for Kirby. What a Kirby! Oh,
Was out of bounds. What a great catch by Kirby.
He tried to keep both feet in bounds, but couldn't. George Kuntz was covering downfield.
A nice job of Kuntz of running through the zone. Did they clear everything out, and then they take Kuntz? But look at that. Oh, his foot was just a little bit out of bounds. See, Kuntz turns the other way and loses him. But watch the concentration by Kirby. His left foot, though, just hit that line.
In these tough conditions, Kirby is twice made one-handed catches very nearly. 2nd and 10. 1:40 on the clock. Pass broken up by Butler, intended for the tight end, Brent Jones, and that will bring up 3rd down.
Leroy Butler read that thing before Gerbach did. I mean, he broke on that ball before they ever threw that ball out there. Watch, there's Gerbach. Now, he's going to start to make that throw, but prior to that thing, you can see here he comes. And the ball gets up there the same time that Leroy Butler gets there.
49ers trying to capitalize on a turnover. Green Bay's defense, however, best in the NFL, only 84 yards thus far. 3rd down and 10. Pressure from Reggie White. And this pass is caught at the 15-yard line, and that'll be a 1st down. Jerry Rice with an 11-yard catch. And the clock continues to run with 1:21. One timeout left for the 49ers. They try to get on the scoreboard before intermission. Here is Kirby, and he is tripped up virtually at the line of scrimmage.
Great job by Sean Jones. Shoved everything back inside, nowhere to run. Sean Jones he's really playing well. This is as good as I have seen him play. There's Fritz Shermer, the defensive coordinator. Given them 6 different looks in this first half, and his key has been changing things up so San Francisco can't get in their rhythm.
Well, this year the Niners have struggled in the red zone, and the Packers have not defensively. Here comes Reggie White, and the pass to Brent Jones, and it's caught inside the 10, and the clock stopping with 32 seconds remaining. And the Packers, or the 49ers, calling their last timeout of this first half.
We talked about the field at the start of the game and said outside that it was going to be bad. Then as the game goes on, the whole thing's going to get bad. Now when the field takes away Jerry Rice, that means you have to have an option. And so then you go to your number 2 guy, which is Brent Jones. You can see the field.
Pretty much cut up.
Yeah, it is.
Coming up on the Dockers Khakis halftime, JB, Terry, Howie, and Ronnie will have a first half analysis and an interview with Carolina head coach Dom Capers, who's preparing for tomorrow's divisional showdown with the world champion Dallas Cowboys. All that and more on the Dockers Khakis halftime report.
You can see out here, this is all basically mud that's painted green. Now this is all resodded, and that was in pretty good shape, but you can see now as the game has gone on in this area, it's really starting to get worn down. You see it's all kind of ripped up as it goes, and that's on the outside where your receivers are.
3rd down and 3 on the Green Bay 8. 2 tight ends for the 49ers. And a play fake. Gerbach looking for help, and he flips it to Kirby, and it's a touchdown. Terry Kirby with the touchdown catch, and the 49ers get on the board, taking advantage of the Green Bay turnover.
And that was all Elvis Gerbach. And Kirby, again, with the great concentration to stay in. And again, this is the part that people forget about Gerbach. See how he was able to stay out. Look how the feet were in bounds. That's a good call by the official. It's a good call because as he was coming down, Evans pushed him and forced him out of bounds. So you have to give him every opportunity to come down. So there's the catch, and as he's coming down, he's pushed. That's a good call by the official.
And I think he had both sets of toes in bounds anyway.
Tootsies.
Okay. So Kirby has done a terrific job in inclement weather, catching the ball and keeping his balance with a touchdown catch. Jeff Wilkins with the extra point. With 24 seconds left, both teams have scored touchdowns off of turnovers thus far.
And again, you're the San Francisco 49ers and you're Elvis Gerbach. The first guy you want to look for is Jerry Rice. But you're Eugene Robinson, you know that too, so you take him away. And then the other guy you look for is Frank Jones. And Frank Jones will delay and then come out of there, but they just put the clamps on him, so there's nowhere to go for him. So Gerbach has to buy time with those legs, get out there, and make this throw. But it comes down to Kirby with the concentration.
And George Seifert, who's known to have the body English going for him now and then.
And that's a big score for the 49ers. I mean, that's a monster. You go 21-7 now, and that's a completely different game.
And it goes into halftime, and the 49ers should be buoyed tremendously by that. 6-play drive, and it all started on the punt that was off the back foot of Chris Hayes. And Elvis Gerbach, and you credited him with making that last play with the touchdown pass to Terry Kirby. So it's 21-7 and 24 seconds left. The Niners have to feel a lot better about themselves now.
Oh, I completely agree with you. And then the other thing is, Gerbach has finding himself out there. Gerbach's been throwing the ball down the field pretty well. And then again, his movement is a lot better than people think.
Clean uniform of Jeff Wilkins, which is interesting with all the mud. Don Beebe on the return for the Packers. And Beebe brings it out beyond the 30-yard line. Harris Barton walking off the field. He was shaken up before and then came back, and now he will go into the locker room.
He's another one like Steve Young, though. That's a warrior. If there's any way to be out there, he'll be out there.
That'll be the last play of the first half. With the score, the Packers 21 and the 49ers 7. JB, Terry, Howie, and Ronnie will be along from the Fox Television Center with the Dockers Khakis halftime report following these messages from your local Fox station. Back at Lambeau Field, getting ready for the start of the third quarter. The Packers 21, the 49ers 7, and they scored late in the first half to get back into the game. And if you take away the punt returns by Desmond Howard, this is, you might call an even game at this point.
Well, I think the thing to remember is that at the start of the game, you thought it was going to be low scoring. And really, both defenses have not disappointed. Both defenses have played very, very well. Howard has been the difference in the football game, both from a field position standpoint in the second return and the first one with the score. And then the third thing in special teams was the other fumble, which allowed San Francisco to get the score.
So both teams capitalized on turnovers, but that last one really gave the 49ers some hope going into this second half. And it looks like it's Gerbach's game, although Steve Young has tried to go warming up, and there he is again now.
Yeah, and I don't know so much if it's warming up or if trying to paint out, because there's so much pain in there with those ribs. Frankly, I got to tell you something. The 49ers are in better shape with Elvis Gerbach playing quarterback than you are with Steve Young.
11 of 21, not many yards, and Mike Holmgren's team has had the advantage of really good field position to score their 2 touchdowns. That's the 2 touchdowns the offense scored, other than Desmond Howard's 71-yard punt return for a score. So let's focus in now at our first half statistics.
Well, if you look at everything, this is kind of a little bit deceiving, only because of the punt returns and the field position. But look at this. San Francisco 49-yard line, the average starting position. I think that's the biggest thing. And then the other thing is, forget all these numbers, the field itself is a factor. That's the first thing. And then secondly, both defenses are playing very, very well. What's interesting, at halftime, while both teams went into their respective locker rooms, this is the way they took care of the field. I mean, they didn't go out there and do anything except go out there and replace all divots. They just stomped it all down. They sent a crew out there, and they pushed all the big mud things down. Look, this is as good as it's going to be.
Well, on January 26th, Fox will televise our first Super Bowl, and right now you can be a part of the most interactive NFL experience on the internet. Check out superbowl.com, brought to you by IBM. They covered the field. Of course, they had rains early in the morning, and the rains got heavy, and they had to take the tarp off, and once they did that, you knew that the conditions would deteriorate.
The other thing that's happening right now is it is starting to get colder, and so I think the temperature is starting to go down. Generally happens when things get colder.
Don Beebe is back to receive the kickoff, and Jeff Wilkins will kick off. Andre Rison has gone back to join Beebe, and the kick bounces past Beebe. And Jason.
Oh, that's a huge play. That's 6 points,
Israel
boys.
is down at the 2-yard line. Steve Israel with a great hustle play, and Andre Rison is shaken up.
That's a monster play. Now, I'm mistaken. That can't be a touchdown. You can't return it. Yeah, that's the old Derek Jensen from 1980 Raiders. That's another Raider rule.
But Rison is writhing on the field.
Now watch Beebe. He thinks he's going to try to come up and get this, which is the right thing to do. It gets through him, and then Rison tries to get over here, but a tremendous hustle play by Israel, and he picks that thing up, and that's going to be 1st and goal for the 49ers.
Remember, Israel was guilty of 2 penalties that really hurt the 49ers in the Packer final drive in regulation in their previous game. And watch the hustle as Israel beat Rison to the ball, and then Rison got shaken up. Now there was confusion because Rison ran out for Desmond Howard, who normally is on the kickoff return team. And Howard just came out, so Howard didn't get back, and he's explaining it to the coaches, and his tardiness has affected the Green Bay Packers negatively here.
I think he went in there. It looked like he got some new drawers on.
So they had to send someone out, and Rison ran out there, and he was not only involved in the play, but it looks like they're working on the knee as well. So the Packers in a little disarray right now, and the 49ers may be sitting pretty. We'll be back.
Divisional Playoff Special is brought to you by Honda, vehicles designed to help simplify your life. By the Braun Flex Integral, designed to perform better. And by the United States Marine Corps, the change is forever.
Back here at Lambeau Field, and Mike Holmgren visibly upset at Desmond Howard, and now Andre Rison is being helped off the field. Howard changing pants, apparently, because they look clean, coming back out late. There was confusion. Rison went out there to support Don Beebe, and as a result, Steve Israel recovered at the 3.
Watch Andre Rison just dive right in there, and as soon as he did, you can see he's just going to reach right for that knee. He goes right for that right knee, and they didn't waste any time with the sideline. They took him right into the locker room.
Desmond Howard doesn't want to get anywhere near Mike Holmgren right now. So it's 1st and goal at the 3-yard line.
No, you talk about Desmond Howard not being out there. Yet Don Beebe, you can't let that ball hit the ground. And then once it does, then it's a free-for-all. So, it was one of those high pooch kind of kicks, but Beebe's got to get that ball on the fly.
So the 49ers trying to take advantage of 2 turnovers, one on a punt off the leg of Chris Hayes toward the final stages of the second quarter, and on this opening kickoff of the 3rd quarter.
There's Beebe down there, see, and they don't have an extra guy. See, people are looking around, they're kind of pointing back there, and Rison just starts to come on right over here. And he gets in there, and then Beebe jumped to the other side. And Howard was supposed to be back there, but the bottom line is you can't let that ball hit the ground.
So they're adjusting the clock, and that's why we have the delay here. 25-second clock is not working right now, but the 49ers all of a sudden find themselves with a golden opportunity to come within a touchdown of the Green Bay Packers after the Pack scored the first 21 points in the game.
It's like Jerry Rice also went in at halftime and cleaned himself up. He's nice and bright again.
And of course, Jeff Wilkins, the kicker for the 49ers, looks like he's still in Arizona.
Yeah, that's the difference between linemen and then you know, skill guys. And you look at Lyman, and he's not even a skill guy. He's just a kicker.
Now,
but you look at Jerry Rice, then you look at the linemen. You know, they're all slopped around. They're just hogs. You know, they don't care what they look like. They just want to play. Give me a sandwich, a couple of brewskis after the game. They're happy. Those skill guys, they get out there. They want to look nice. You know, Jerry Rice, nice and clean, not anything on them.
let's get back to how much you love kickers, man.
I think they're great, right where they're at.
Field. Disregard the 25 seconds on the play clock.
So the clock is not working, and they'll keep it on the field. Word from Dick Hantak, the referee. And now the 49ers will go to work. Elvis Gerbach. And the Niners with a first and goal at the 3-yard line. William Floyd and Terry Kirby will be the running backs. Gerbach with a touchdown pass to Kirby late in the second quarter to get the 49ers on the scoreboard. Jerry Rice lines up wide right. And now the clock is working. The 25-second clock is in motion. Handoff, fake. And on a bootleg, Elvis Gerbach will walk into the end zone for the touchdown.
Great call. That was a great call. They had everything bite on that fake. And then Terrell Owens had a nice block on Doug Evans, had him to the back of the end zone. Gerbach, heck, he could have skipped on in there. Watch everybody bite. Look at everybody draws right inside. Nobody out there. Goes right around Sean Jones.
And the touchdown makes it 21-13, and Elvis Gerbach and the 49er offense getting a lot more confidence. But of course the turnovers on the special teams plays pivotal for San Francisco's comeback attempt. And now Jeff Wilkins for the extra point. And the kick is good, and it is now 21-14 in favor of the Green Bay Packers. Here's Gerbach's touchdown, and the 49ers back in this game. Packers lead now is cut to 7, 21-14, less than a minute into this third quarter. There's Don Beebe and Desmond Howard. So the Packer return teams have muffed a punt, which resulted in a Niner touchdown and one kickoff loss. Technically, that was not a turnover on the kickoff, but it's really the same thing when you get down to it. And the kickoff headed for Desmond Howard, who returns from the 10-yard line. Howard finally down at the 28-yard line, and let's go to the key play leading to that score.
Again, you know, there's a mix-up in personnel, but the mistake was Don Beebe not catching that ball. And then the great play by Steve Israel of getting down there. First of all, coming down unblocked, and then secondly, having the hustle to get down there and make the play.
Remember, the 49ers thought that the win by the Packers in October was a fluke, considering a lot of things they thought should have been ruled differently. First down, Packers on the 28. Favre on a play fake. And Brett Favre has some room to run. And he is knocked away by Lee Woodall, knocked hard into the bench after a 7-yard
Yeah, boy, he hit that bench pretty hard.
And now Stubblefield going at it. That was a hard smack that Favre took going into that bench.
You saw at the end of that play, I mean, what you saw was the ability of Lee Woodall to be able to run. And then, you know, there's the hit. Then he goes down. Now watch the end of the play. He goes right into that bench. Everybody clear. He hit that bench back there pretty good. You notice that nobody in the San Francisco sideline tried to slow him down at all. Let him hit whatever he can.
They got out of the way in a hurry. 2nd and 3, and the give to Edgar Bennett. Edgar Bennett breaks one and gets close to midfield, and a first down and more. A pickup of 13 yards for Edgar Bennett, having an outstanding day.
Yeah, and also that offensive line up front. Watch right inside here. Watch these three guys. They are really blocking well. Aaron Taylor, Frankie Winters, Adam Timmerman. Look at Timmerman right there. Puts him on his back, and that allows Bennett to be able to get into that second level. And a nice job of Frank Winters blocking Dana Stubblefield.
Don Beebe in at wide receiver. Dennis Brown is in for the injured Brian Young, who was taken to the hospital in the first half. Pressure on Favre. Pass complete to Bennett on a screen pass and brought down in 49er territory after a gain of 4 yards.
Say that Frank Winters, their center, is almost the model of how offensive linemen are in this league. He came into the league, drafted by Cleveland, came over here to the Green Bay Packers. You start to watch him, and you see Andre Rison comes back on the field, and his game has gotten better and better and better. To now, you know, he's one of those guys. He makes all the calls up front. You can count on him all the time. He's extremely solid, and you know that's what happens with linemen in this league. Sometimes what happens is you get rid of a guy too soon, and he's gone.
Well, he's solid here now. 2nd down and 6. Dorsey Levens gets the handoff off left tackle, and Levens with another Packer first down to the 49er 40. Gary Plummer bringing him down.
You see who made the key block there? Bruce Wilkerson, number 64, in that left tackle spot. And that's that 10-year experience and a big body, which they hadn't had all season long. Watch him right up here. He's going to take Chris Dolman, just push him right up the field. And then you get a nice block again inside, and Levens is able to get the first down.
Packers have been able to run throughout this game successfully. Let's take a look at the play selection of Green Bay so far as Rison checks in. Packers have run the ball twice more than they've passed. That's unusual for them. Here's Bennett with blocking. And Bennett to the 35-yard line gets 5 yards. Woodall on the play.
Now they're running inside. They're going outside. Now they're running back to the tight end, Mark Chmura. Remember we showed you earlier with Keith Jackson how he had to try to take on the outside guy. Watch Chmura. Chmura working on Lee Woodall. Gets his hands on him, and that's a big body. 255 pounds. Just takes him down the field, and they pick up 5 yards.
William Henderson was blocking in front, and maybe that touchdown by the Niners gave the Packers a wake-up call. 2nd and 5 on the 35. Bennett goes in motion, and Henderson, the fullback, close to the first down, maybe shy by a yard.
You know, I think that Mike Holmgren has some Joe Gibbs in him. When I played against Joe Gibbs, you could always count on the second half being tougher than the first half because of adjustments. I think Mike Holmgren does the same thing. I think he's one of those guys that gets a feel for you. He makes adjustment at halftime, and then they come out and they apply them. I think that's what makes him one of the really good coaches in this league.
And of course, he learned a lot in his time with the 49ers. 6 years, quarterback coach, offensive coordinator under both Walsh and Seifert. 3rd and 1. Dorsey Levens dives off the right side, and a first down for the Packers to the 27.
And again, they go right behind Chmura in that right side of that offensive line. Watch Chmura take it down, and then they have Mickens in there. Look at the great job by Mickens. Chmura clears it down to the inside, and then Mickens clears it to the outside. Again, that's the advantage of having a big physical guy working on Roy Barker.
Packers in the last 5 games have scored touchdowns in more than half of their second half drives. So that points up the adjustments that have been successful for Mike Holmgren. Edgar Bennett drives to the 25-yard line, and a gain of 3. And it was Plummer again making the stop. The linebackers active today for the Niner defense.
I'll tell you what's happening right now. Now they're going to start body punching, and they're going to get you to drop your arms. And you get to drop your arms in this league, that means you're going to have to start committing a safety to stop that run. You get those arms down, then they're going to start picking you apart outside, getting their matchups that they want.
9th play of the drive coming up for Green Bay.
So they say that these two teams are similar, but the difference is the offensive line of Green Bay has more muscle than San Francisco.
2nd and 8. Favre fires, and the pass is caught by Freeman inside the 10.
Arms were down, Dick. You drop the arms by punching the body, then you can take your shot to the head. And here it comes. They start bringing everybody up inside. See, then their safety starts coming over to the middle. Look how Favre draws the safety this way with his head. And that opens that right side, and there's the shot to the head.
18-yard gain, and Marquez Pope defending. And it'll be 1st and goal at the 6-yard line. Pope and Freeman singled up. And there's Edgar Bennett, who recovers his own fumble. And in this kind of weather, you got to stay with it because you never know where the turnovers might occur.
You know, you heard Brett Favre talk about that at the top of our game with Pam Oliver. He said, you know, I was talking to my dad about that. He said, we can run the football and not turn it over. We can win this game. Well, they have been running the football, and they've moved it right down the field on the 49ers. But they've also had a couple of miscues, and that has gotten the 49ers right back in it.
Yet the Packers are 2 for 2 in the red zone so far today. And 2nd and goal at the 10 after the 4-yard loss. Then they go to Edgar Bennett. Tripped up, but gets inside the 5-yard line, and it was Plummer. Boy, they are going to town, and they're making hay inside running all day.
Yeah, and they're taking advantage of the inside 3. I'll tell you right here, look at Timmerman and Winters. And then on the other side, Aaron Taylor, and they're just going man-to-man. And they're just playing with that extra man of William Henderson, who's really a guard in the backfield. And they're just pounding the football. They are going to force that safety to walk up, and then they'll take advantage of him being out of there.
Bennett with 53 yards. Outstanding game. 3rd down and goal, and Edgar Bennett loses the ball. There's a fumble in the end zone.
That's either a touchdown or a touchback.
And you want to talk about a big call. One is coming up right here.
The crowd will let you know what it is.
Maybe the most important umpiling of the year in the NFL.
A lot of fighting going on under there. There they can't get them apart. I guarantee you there's still a fight going on under there. They just teased the crowd. You see Favre?
Well, Favre thinks the Packers have the touchdown.
Well, they're not going to believe it till the officials give it.
They gave it. And I think it was Antonio Freeman on the bottom of that pile who recovered the fumble for the Green Bay touchdown.
They're still fighting under there.
The signal was already given, and it's a Green Bay touchdown, but don't tell some of the 49ers and the Packers in there.
Ooh, Chewy's hot.
One of the officials has lost his hat.
As long as nobody loses their head down there.
Antonio Freeman celebrating, and we'll see if it was Freeman who did recover.
And the first thing you're going to notice that they're winning the line of scrimmage battle. Look at how San Francisco's going backwards. And then there comes Edgar Bennett. The ball pops up in the air right there. And there's the scramble. But Antonio Freeman, who was lined up on the outside. There's William Henderson. Watch, the ball comes popping up. Merton Hanks got his hand in the ball. And that was Freeman right in the middle of it. And then here comes the troops.
Chris Jackie with the extra point. It's good. And the Packers lead now 28-14. And here was the post-fumble recovery action. Ken Norton Jr.
They got people flying all over the place.
We'll be right back. With the Packers leading 28-14, we have great news for you. The CAT scan on Brian Young at the hospital was negative, and he is heading back to Lambeau Field.
That's great. And that's the news that you want to hear. You hate to see guy get banged up like that, especially a warrior like Brian Young. Really anybody, but that's good news.
And the scoring drive, 72 yards and 12 plays. Packers ran the ball effectively up the middle, and it was Antonio Freeman who recovered the fumble. If not, it would have been a touchback, and the 49ers would have had the ball. But instead, a 2-touchdown lead now for Green Bay as Hendrick kicking off to Derek Lavelle. Lavelle on the return. Trying to turn the corner, and does effectively before he is tackled at the 40-yard line.
Back and look at that score, and I want you to want you to watch where Edgar Bennett is when he fumbles. Remember, if he's over that goal line, this fumble should never occur. But it happened right before that. And then the ball gets up there, and then Antonio Freeman gets in on the bottom, and then there's a scramble, and Holmgren knows right away. That was a big score, and he is pumped. Especially pumped because the way they did it. They averaged over 5 yards a carry on that last drive, just pounding the football at him.
1st and 10 at the 41. Gerbach still the quarterback, and the handoff to William Floyd, who gets about 3 yards. And right now, for a McDonald's game break, let's return to James Brown at our Fox Television Center.
All right, Dick, playoff-proven performer Troy Aikman rushing for his first career postseason touchdown last week as the Cowboys up into the Vikes. Kevin Green played awesome all year. That 8-0 streak at home will be on the line when they host the Cowboys tomorrow. Back to Dick and Matt.
And, of course, the soap opera that we had in Dallas this week, Matt, on top of all of that.
Man, I think a guy like Troy Aikman could put that soap opera aside and play at a level like he did last week.
You're right. Gerbach completes to William Floyd, and he is close to a 49er first down as he gets to midfield. It was Leroy Butler and George Koontz defending.
Well, that'll set up 3rd and short. Adrian Cooper, number 49, comes on, and Adrian Cooper's kind of a key right now for this Green Bay Packer defense because when he comes in, that's generally run time. And when Brent Jones comes on, they throw the football.
Remember, the Niners lost Ted Popson to injury. They could have used him, but Cooper is in there. 3rd down and 1 at midfield, and a fake handoff. Gerbach directing traffic, and the pass is deflected, bringing up 4th down, and you know the 49ers will go for it. Santana Dotson got his hand on it, so it'll be 4th and less than a yard.
And Craig Newsome also broke on it, and the way they did that, and this is smart football by the 49ers. They take Elvis Gerbach and they let him buy some time. You see, when you roll, you shorten the field on one side, but you also put a lot of pressure on your defenders to have to keep your coverage.
So no surprise with 4th and 1 at midfield. The 49ers trailing by 2 touchdowns. 12 of 19 in 4th down conversions this year. And the Packers will call the timeout. They want to get their right people on the field for this 4th and 1. We'll be right back.
This Fox NFC Divisional Playoff Special is brought to you by Nissan, who reminds you that life is a journey. Enjoy the ride.
The rain has changed to sleet, and Matt talked about how the temperature has been dropping. There is Steve Young, who tried to make a go of it with the injured ribs early, couldn't, and Elvis Gerbach has come in, and with 4th down and 1, Packers called a timeout to get their right personnel on the field. So it's 4th and 1 midfield for the 49ers. William Floyd is the one back, and there are 3 wide receivers, and the quarterback sneak, well, very close. It depends on the spot of the ball.
I don't think they're going to give it to him. In fact, I know they're short.
It was not a crisp quarterback sneak by
No,
Gerbach.
it wasn't. You know, that was one of those sloppy field quarterback sneaks because he could never really get into it.
Packers indicating that they had held him.
I would be inclined to agree with them from here.
You're right. I think they're at least a football shy, maybe a half a yard.
They're going to bring it in for a measurement.
Oh, they are definitely short of the first down.
Short ski.
Yeah, and you'll hear the crowd react to this.
Now, they tried to run right at that anchor in there, Gilbert Brown. Gilbert Brown just dropped his anchor, and they weren't about to move him out of there.
Packers take over on down.
And watch it, Gilbert Brown is right over here. Now he's going to take that and try to get back to the outside. And then Sean Jones is right there, who comes off the corner. And then Simmons, but watch Gilbert Brown right here, number 93. So he takes that thing and he stuffs the guard right there. And it forces Elvis Gerbach to go out to the next level. And then Sean Jones can come and make the play.
And that's why the quarterback sneak looks so weak because of Gilbert Brown.
Oh, yeah, because he's so strong.
So the Packers with a first down on the midfield. Brett Favre with a lot of time flips it to Henderson, and William Henderson picks up about 4 yards on the play. This game summary is brought to you by Budweiser, and it was Desmond Howard with 117 yards in punt returns, including a touchdown, and 2 49er touchdowns off of Green Bay return miscues. One was a turnover. Steve Young started the game but came out with bruised ribs, and it's been Elvis Gerback. Second down and 6 for the Packers on the 49er 46-yard line. Edgar Bennett, and this time Gary Plummer brings him down in a hurry. A gain of 2 though. It'll be third down and about 5.
All right. That all-Madden team is going to have some great opportunities for some all-Madden shots out there. Look at some of these guys.
You'll have to go back to the drawing board.
I will see John Madden tomorrow, and I got to tell you something, John. If you're watching this game, this has you written all over. There's slop all over the place. Guys are dirty, mud hanging off of them. Heck, I'm even starting to sound like him when I talk like that.
You do a good imitation. Third and 4 with 4 wide receivers. Brett Favre being chased and dumped by Dana Stubblefield, and that is the second sack of the game by the 49ers.
No place to throw the football. Man, it's a great job of coverage down the field. Steve Israel holding the outside and then just run it with him, and then he's got to look to the other side for Antonio Freeman, and again, nothing there. And then you look to your third option, and now you're going to start to have to face. You're looking right away. It's not there. Now go to the other side. A good job of Ken Norton Jr. covering that guy, and there's no place to go.
Loss of 8 yards, so Craig Hendrick will kick, and it's rolled back to him. And miraculously, Hendrick got the kick off, and it goes into the end zone. That was great hustle by Hendrick to get that rolling kick and getting rid of it.
That Chamora couldn't get that thing up. The only thing that he got was a handful of mud. Hendrick kicked the mud.
And the ball. Kickoff Fox's Super Sunday, January 26th at 1 o'clock Eastern. The Outback Steakhouse all-time All-Madden Super Bowl team on Fox.
Take your VCR and turn it on for that thing. Tape that bad boy, because there's some great players and some great moments. And there, I'll tell you, that guy right there, Gilbert Brown, might be the best anchor in the National Football League. There's not too shabby one right there. Chris Domin, who's playing on a bad ankle. Gilbert Brown has really made a difference with this Packer defense.
3:19 remaining in the third quarter. Packers 28, Niners 14. First down on the 20-yard line. Elvis Gerback hands off to Terry Kirby.
You know, sometimes you can drop an anchor, but sometimes the anchor will just slide. Watch Gilbert Brown right here. You know, watch, he's going to hit now, double up. Look at that. And he just digs in, but the field don't let him dig.
Sometimes you can drop an anchor, but the anchor may not drop.
You're right, anchor's away. There it is.
Second and 7 on the 23. Some of the Niners changed their uniform shirts. Not Gerback. And his pass is caught by William Floyd, and he is hit at the 26-yard line, short of the first down by about 4 yards. Mike Pryor, the nickelback.
That was a nice play by Mike Pryor, because if Mike Pryor doesn't make that play, Floyd's still running. Watch Gilbert Brown. They're going to go, and all they're doing is they're going to drop Gilbert Brown in coverage. You see what he does? See, now, you don't have to drop far, but you make sure you know where number 80 is. And so you get back there, you drop maybe 3 yards, but you hit Jerry Rice and don't. Look at there, it's a Gilbert mark right there. See, right in the middle of that chest.
The only mud in his white uniform now. 3rd and 4, and we have movement in the line. And let's see if the right side of the 49er line moved. Dahlman, Barton.
Hey, Harris Barnes played himself a good football game.
Ball start. Offense prior to the snap. Number 67.
And that one was on Chris Dahlman.
Still third down.
2:01 remaining in the third quarter. The Packers, who scored the first 21 points, taking advantage of Desmond Howard's spectacular punt returns, including one for a touchdown. It was 21-0, and then the Niners scored late in the first half, taking advantage of a turnover. And then the Niners scored again early in the third quarter, but the Packers with a score lead by 2 touchdowns with under 2 minutes to play. Packers have not yet been penalized today. 3rd and 9. Gerback has time, and the pass is caught by Brent Jones, and Jones will have a Niner first down beyond the 30-yard line. Tyrone Williams making the tackle.
And the first thing you wanted to do is look to Jerry Rice, but Ty Williams gets himself a nice jam on him. Nice little... If you take away your number 1 guy, then you go to your number 2 guy, and that's Brent Jones. And I want you to watch how Brent Jones comes back to the ball. That was the difference in that play, because as he was skating across, he took away the opportunity of Brian Williams to make a play by coming to the ball.
Jones goes out of the game, replaced by Adrian Cooper, number 49. First down on the San Francisco 32. Fake handoff and a pass caught by Jerry Rice. And Rice gets about 6 or 7, and the line judge goes blind.
But he gets back up, which is good. These officials are calling a good game. I want you to watch Craig Newsome now. You're going to get a jam on the outside again. But watch how Rice fights through the jam. So you have to be physical, and that's a part of Jerry Rice's game that people forget about. They see him running all over the place, but he will fight through a lot of garbage.
And you know, sometimes, Matt, you can make a good jam as Newsome did and then lose your footing.
Yeah, which I think on a field like this, you have a tendency to kind of hold off a little bit because you don't want to give up a big play down the field.
2nd down and 4. Open up the middle is William Floyd, and he is close to the first down. Fumbled. And let's see whether the play was blown dead.
Now they're going to say it's incomplete.
Now they say it was not held onto by Floyd. As 10 seconds remain in this quarter, Ron Cox had knocked it away, so Cox prevented the completion of the pass.
What they're not going to do, the Green Bay Packers, is let you beat them down the field. They're forcing you to go underneath. They're determining that he had no control, so it wasn't a catch.
You saw it on the ground as Kuntz and then Cox came over, so an incomplete pass. 3rd down and 4. Jerry Rice, thus far today, comparing the half, had 4 catches in the first half, only 1 so far in the second. And time has been called by the 49ers. That is their first timeout. This is a big 3rd and 4 coming up. Remember, in the last possession, Niners went for it on 4th and 1 and didn't make it on a failed quarterback sneak. Well, tomorrow night, go inside the mind of a terrorist who can't be stopped.
That these Green Bay Packers have been doing defensively is giving you a lot of different change-ups. And that's Fritz Shermer, and that's what he does very, very well. He's been giving them a variety of different looks, different nickel looks.
And he's an author, too, isn't he?
Yeah, and he's come out with another one, coaching the defensive line. I'll tell you, that's some of the best down-to-earth football you're going to get right there. Every young coach and fan should get this one. There's a lot of good things in there, particularly in the running game. Coaching the defensive line.
Following the timeout, 3rd and 4. And Gerback's pass is caught by Terry Kirby and appears to be enough for the first down. And the time stops at 5 seconds as Kirby went out of bounds to stop the clock.
That was a smart play outside. It's kind of a pick play when they know they have man coverage. They take Terry Kirby and they run him from the inside out. They use the wide receiver to kind of shield him.
And the time has run out, and that is the end of the third quarter with the score, the Packers 28, 49ers 14. Fox NFL Sunday will continue after these messages from your local Fox News. How about a salute to the Hardy fans here at Lambeau Field? A new attendance record at Lambeau Field, 60,787. Matt, 3 unused tickets.
Where are those stiffs? I can't find any unused seats out here, let me tell you.
Well, this is the home field advantage the Packers earned this year with a 13-3 record. They won 16 in a row here at Lambeau. Start of the fourth quarter, first down for the 49ers on the 42, chasing Elvis Gerback, and he throws it away.
Nice job by the San Francisco offensive line of picking up the stunt and then of Gerback getting out of trouble.
Reggie White tried to run him down.
All right, you're going to see there's going to be a blitz coming right up inside there. Here comes Cox. Did a good job of picking it up. And again, what they're doing is they're giving you a lot of different looks. That's Rick Shermer again. He'll give you a 3-down lineman, 4-down lineman. He gives you 5 defensive backs, 6 defensive backs, and it's all to try to take away the rhythm and put a little bit more pressure on your quarterback to read what's going on out there.
And they're all in those books he wrote.
Yeah.
Second down and 10. Deep drop this time for Gerback. Throws underneath to Floyd. And William Floyd, with an extra effort, gets close to first down yardage in Packer territory. Doug Evans with the stop.
I tell you, it's been a quiet day on the right side with Reggie White, number 92. The reason is Harris Barton, number 79, who's battling through and also getting some help from the inside, because you know what you have in Reggie White. And you know you have to beat him with more than one guy.
It'll be third down and 1. 2 wide receivers with Floyd and Kirby, and they give to William Floyd, and he'll have more than enough for the first down. You have to admire the 49ers, who were trailing at one point 21-0. Came back to within a touchdown and now trail 28-14, battling here with the great reputation that they have as former Super Bowl champions. And you can see that it is not a passer's day today.
Not a good day at all. And when you're not having that passing game going, and of course you're trying to throw underneath, so it's going to be shortened, then you have to be able to run the football. And the advantage today offensively in the defensive game has been the Green Bay Packer running game.
This is the 10th play of the drive. Gerback was looking to throw deep, and now he runs it. And Elvis Gerback slides to the 30-yard line. It's the beginning of the slide is where he'll mark the ball, and a gain of 16 yards to the 30.
He was trying to look right down the middle of the field. He's going to see this guy real light. He's going to try to get them right down the middle. That's Adrian Cooper. He's going to look, because see how they split the field? So you split the field, you try to hit it through the middle. Because that backer ran with them all the way down, Gerback sees that the middle's open, so he takes off right inside. It's good quarterbacking by Gerback. You see, when those safeties split, that means there's nobody in there, so you try to get there with your tight end right through the middle.
First and 10, and an end around, and a pass attempt by Jerry Rice, but no one there, and Rice decides to hold on to the ball, and Doug Evans throws him out of bounds, and a loss of about 3 or 4 yards on the play.
Well, you can credit Craig Newsome, because he stayed with his coverage all the way down the field. They were going to go with that reverse pass. Or last year, Jerry Rice threw a touchdown against the Atlanta Falcons with this thing. Here it comes right here. See, they're going to try to come all the way through. Look, right down here, and then Jones across the middle. And as he comes around, nice job of staying with your coverage. No place to throw the football. And Brent Jones staying at Leroy Butler stays with him. And then Newsome down the field along with Eugene Robinson takes it all away.
And now Jones must have pulled something, because he's going to be helped off the field now.
Remember, he hurt his knee in practice this week, and it looks like that's what happened again.
Now the 49ers are down to 1 tight end.
You have to admire, not only for the knee for Brent Jones, but he has no strength. He had the flu all week long.
This is what mud and inclement conditions are all about.
Look at that.
You can just throw out whatever you plan in a game when you get down to the heavy sleet that we're experiencing right now at Lambeau. Brent Jones out on the sideline working on him. Remember, only one other tight end, and that's Adrian Cooper. Ted Popson got hurt, so they're going to go with 3 wide receivers now with Terrell Owens, Jerry Rice, and Ihani Uwezike, number 89. Gerback rolling out under pressure from Santana Dotson, and he's forced to throw it away.
Gabe Wilkins made the play. And Santana Dotson came outside, but the guy who makes his play is Gabe Wilkins. You're going to watch him right inside. He comes blowing down underneath. Look at how he clears his whole side out. And they take 3 guys on him, and that clears it open for Santana Dotson. Because he's in on him so quick, Gerbach has to get rid of that ball and sets up third and about 14, 15.
Right now, this is the worst conditions we have had, the heaviest rain and sleet since the start of the game.
It's great, isn't it?
I love it.
Of course, we're not playing.
Gerbach trying to pass it, and he completes to Terry Kirby.
Great play by
And a
Kirby.
first down for the 49ers inside the Packer 20.
That's a great job of Kirby catching the ball, getting open, and a wonderful job of Elvis Gerbach staying with them and allowing them to get there. Watch the patience. See what they do? That's just a thing of beauty. Gerbach just stays right in there. And then George Seifert on the other side.
He couldn't quite jump all the way up, could he?
Field conditions are bad.
Terry Kirby has played a heroic game.
Yes, he has.
For the Niners.
Catching the football. They can't run, but they're catching fine.
Here is Floyd, and he is tripped up. Fumble! And the Packers may have it. Brian Williams may have it, yes. Wait for the official signal. Floyd was tripped up, fumbled the ball.
Boy, there's been some...
If the Packers have it, it's Brian Williams who alertly made the recovery.
There are more battles going on for fumbles today.
And you'll hear the roar.
We have a fumble.
That'll happen too. The mic will go out in a day
We
like
have
this.
a fumble. Fumble recovered by Green Bay. First down.
Oh, that one hurts for the San Francisco 49ers.
So the Packers bring a halt to the 49er attempt.
They just try a straight lead
The
play.
second turnover by San Fran.
The ball just popped out. Williams made the play, the tackle, and the fumble recovery, and a big play for the Green Bay Packers.
This Fox NFC Divisional Playoff Special is brought to you by the new Dodge. It's about change. By IBM, solutions for a small planet. By Miller Lite, when you've got the great taste of an ice-cold Miller Lite, life is good. And by American Express, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, American Express helps you do more.
First down at the 19-yard line following the turnover, and Dorsey Levens for a short gain.
And Bryant Williams makes a great play. As you watch, he goes down, he gets cut in the hole, and then his feet come up, and he kicks the ball out. And then it's flopping around in there, and he has the presence to be able to get right back on top of it. Terry Kirby cut him in the hole. And that's why I'm not a fan of cutting people in there, because you don't know the guy's still in there. And then the ball squirts through, and Williams is right there. So he makes the tackle. He causes the fumble, and he recovers it, and guess what? He didn't even know he did any of it.
That's a triple crown. Second down and 9. Here is Edgar Bennett, and he is driven back by Dana Stubblefield for no gain. 10:18 remaining in the fourth quarter. The Green Bay Packers trying to advance to the NFC Championship game.
And Tim McDonald right down here. See, we talked about body punching. Now you're starting to get everybody up there. Now they're going with 8-man fronts. And now is when play action happens and the passing game comes out, when you get that safety and draw them up.
3 wide receivers. And now you look at the first time these teams played, 63 passes thrown by Brett Favre in that game. You knew he wasn't going to throw that many today in this weather. 3rd and 9, or anywhere near that number. Favre. And it was Beebe the closest to the ball, and that'll bring up 4th down, and Craig Hendrick will come in to kick it away.
Now, if you look at the offense for the Green Bay Packers today, the biggest difference is that offensive line was able to get physical and pound the football. You know, Favre is only 11 out of 15 for like about 80 yards
about
or so.
79.
79, there you go. Hey, look, Shimura's not snapping now. They put Frank Winters in instead.
Last time Shimura snapped, he rolled it back to Hendrick. managed to get the kick away. Terry Kirby is deep for the 49ers.
Oh, good kick.
Great kick. What a kick. What a great kick by Craig Hentrick. And here is Kirby bringing it back. And he does a good job. Fumbles it, and it's recovered by Chris Hayes.
Looks like Bernardo Harris put the lick on him, number 55.
63-yard punt, and Chris Hayes, who was a GOAT before, when a punt went off of his foot for a turnover, gets the ball back, recovers the fumble, and the Packers get it back.
The ball was fumbled during the return, recovered by Green Bay. First down.
Terry Kirby does a great job of recovering, getting the ball back, and then watch Bernardo Harris. He gets in there and it was Pryor. Pryor's the guy who punched it through. That thing's flopping around there before Hayes picks it up.
Mike Pryor made the play, and what a reliable 11-year veteran he has been in the secondary.
Invaluable. He has been everything they've wanted him to be and more. Kirby, who's had himself really a brilliant day catching the ball, dropped one there on the great play by Pryor.
That is the third turnover committed by the 49ers, and the Packers with good field position on the 49er 32-yard line, leading 28-14. A handoff to Edgar Bennett, who dives inside the 30 for a gain of about 5. Right now, for a McDonald's game break, let's return to James Brown at our Fox Television Center.
Dick, you can bet Emmitt Smith is thinking about holding on to the ball a lot better tomorrow when his Cowboys go into Erickson Stadium to take on a tough D led by Lamar Lathan and Kevin Green. NFC Divisional Playoff action tomorrow right here on Fox. Back to Dick and Matt.
It's going to be a great one tomorrow. It's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of scheme, a lot of blitzing. If the Dallas Cowboys can run the football at the dropping lineman and play action at it, they'll have themselves a chance.
Carolina undefeated at home this year. And finally, trying to call an audible was Brett Favre, and has to call a timeout. And that is the second timeout of the second half by the Packers. We'll be right back. Steve Young has spent most of the game with the parka on. He tried to give it a go with the bruised ribs, had pain-killing shots. He had a special and bulkier flak jacket, went into the locker room for 11 minutes, came out back, couldn't do it. 2 of 5 for 8 yards, gave way to Elvis Gerbach, and the 49ers finding themselves on the short end of a 28-14 score. Packers, after using a timeout, have a 2nd and 6 on the San Francisco 28. Here's Edgar Bennett going wide, and Bennett 2 yards short of the first down as he's tackled by Gary Plowen.
I think if I see one thing different in this Green Bay Packer team, I think it's their ability to run the football. And if you want to know why, I think their offensive line has come together. I think Bruce Wilkerson on the left side has helped them a lot. They get solidified things. And I think Dorsey Levens has helped because he's put a little bit more pressure on Edgar Bennett to perform. And Edgar Bennett has responded.
And he sure has, over 100 yards against the Vikings. And the last couple of weeks, the Packers have really run the ball well. 3rd down and 2. Dorsey Levens in the middle of the pile.
That looks short ski.
Yes, he looks.
It's Green Bay, you know, you put a ski on everything.
Yeah.
Broad ski, short ski, 4th down ski.
And whether they measure it or not, they're going to measure, but they appear short.
Ski.
And if it snows, they can go and ski.
Well, they'll measure this thing, and I would venture to say that Holmgren will go for it down here. I mean, you'd have to.
What else would you do?
Yeah, you're not going to try to kick a field goal in this slop, and then
all
you'd gain is 2 yards. You're on the 22-yard line. So you go for it.
You get a field goal attempt and it's blocked. The other team can run it back. I mean, the 49ers could run it back. very risky play. So now they're discussing it. 4th down and less than 1 on the 23.
And you've been running straight ahead behind those inside 3. And the 49ers know that as well. Remember down in the goal line, they tried to go with the tackles out, backers inside, and they scored on that one.
They got 2 tight ends, Chimura and Jackson, and Dorsey Levens and William Henderson. Split backs. No flag. And Favre tried to draw him offside and very nearly did. And they didn't go for it. And so the Packers have called a timeout. That is their 3rd and last timeout of the second half. Let's hear the sounds of this 4th down play.
See, you see that right there? See Brett Favre with a big old smile on his push? Yeah, Gary Plummer. Watch Gary Plummer. Watch his face, and he knows exactly what's happening right here. And he's calling, he's saying, Roy Barker, get back, Roy, get back. And right there, he's staring, and Favre can't help it. And he just starts laughing. Look at that push right there.
Here is the 4th down play after the timeout, and the handoff. 1st down, Dorsey, Levens, and more inside the 15-yard line. Dorsey Levens with a gain of 11 yards on 4th and 1.
And that left side behind Bruce Wilkerson, Aaron Taylor, and then William Henderson, the big fullback. They just played power game. There's a nice block right there by Henderson. And then watch again how Chimura is just going to give him a little shot to Merton Hanks.
And Mike Holmgren had to feel confident enough to use his 3rd and last timeout to get this 1st down. You never know when you're going to need it, but now the Packers are in business with a 1st down inside the 15, leading by 2 touchdowns.
Green Bay Packers have some muscle in their running game, which they hadn't had all year.
1st down on the 13, Levens again, and not much there.
Keep in mind that they're running against an outstanding San Francisco defense.
Keep in mind Brian Young, of course, went out and went to the hospital, and those who did not join us until late went to the hospital for x-rays of his back and neck. The CAT scan proved to be negative, and the word was he was headed back to Lambeau Field, so that was good news for Brian Young.
They've just been pounding the football. That William Henderson in the backfield, and then, you know, we saw it early in the game, and they just kept on staying with it. You see 117 yards rushing. They're working the clock, and they're doing it the old-fashioned way. They're earning it with a power football game.
2nd and 8, Edgar Bennett gets by one defender. Edgar Bennett drives, touchdown, Packers. That is Bennett's 2nd touchdown of the afternoon. And the story of this game, besides Desmond Howard early, the Green Bay Packers' ability to run virtually at will against the 49er defense.
See that look on Dana Stubblefield? Kind of says it all for the 49ers.
Packers taking advantage that time and capitalizing on the turnover, the Kirby fumble. Chris Jackie with the extra point. And with 5:31 to go in the game, the Packers lead it 35-14 to the delight of a record Lambeau Field crowd. Edgar Bennett's 2nd touchdown of the day, and the Packers with a commanding 35-14 lead. And ironically, in talking to Mike Holmgren, Matt, he thought 21 points might be enough to win this one.
Well, he'd have been right. It would have been 21-14 at this point, but the Green Bay Packers, the big difference is the fact that they were able to pound the football. And you know how they got that thing done. And you look at this touchdown run. I want you to watch Chimura 89, Earl Dotson 72, and then William Henderson number 30. Look at Dotson right here. There, see, that's going to take care of this. And then watch right here, number 30. He's just looking for people. A nice job of Timmerman taking out a block. then you just get on the DB and watch Edgar Bennett. How the heck do you keep your feet? It's unbelievable.
And you know, he's always played well on an off track.
He's a mutter.
Yes, he is. Flag was down after Frank Pollock had covered up the kickoff for the 49ers. They're yelling, "We want Dallas," and they may get Dallas.
Personal foul on the receiving team, number 55. He is ejected. First down.
It's Mitchell.
Personal foul is the call against Mitchell. And ejected from the game. So Mitchell leaves, and he's got to leave the sidelines as well. And that's going to bring the ball back inside the 15.
Well, the winner of tomorrow's game in Carolina will be here tomorrow. Ejected and dejected.
Elvis Gerback, first down at the 14. They've got to get a lot in a hurry, and this is intercepted by Eugene Robinson. And they're going to say he was down at the 45-yard line. Pass intended by Terrell Owens.
This is not to take away from the great year that the San Francisco 49ers have had. They battled through a lot of things, an injured quarterback. They still came back, but they have some pieces of their puzzle that need to be put back into place. And the biggest thing is they can't run the football. Their best runner this whole year was Steve Young, and they really need to address that. And the thing is, they had to address it last year, and they didn't get it done.
So the quarterback story, of course, will be pivotal for the 49ers. Gerback, the future guy as far as they're concerned. So how many more years will Young play?
He can still play at a high level, and Elvis Gerback can play. I mean, that's obvious, too.
Dorsey Levens on the handoff and gets to the 45. So now we can look ahead to next Sunday, and the NFC Championship game on Fox will be played right back here at Lambeau Field. The winner of the Cowboys-Carolina Panthers game will go against these Green Bay Packers. Coverage begins at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time.
That's going to be a great game.
Pre-game show will start it off, and then the Packers, who earned home field advantage. It was crucial to them, and now you see why they have taken advantage of it. They expected cold, maybe snow, but we got mud, rain, and sleet today. Second down and 9 with 4.5 minutes remaining in the game. Edgar Bennett, who's had a whale of a game, gets to the 40-yard line. Tackled by Ken Norton Jr.
Yeah, Edgar Bennett had himself a heck of a good football game, but to me, beside the turnovers and the miscues, the difference in the game is the Green Bay offensive line. I mean, they took this game over, and they moved the line of scrimmage, and they opened holes, and they pass protected Favre, and those are the guys who really stood tall today.
And even without Brian Young injured, that's a pretty good defensive line.
Yeah, oh, absolutely, and the thing you have to remember is they ran right at Brian Young as well.
80 yards rushing for Edgar Bennett today. Third down and 5, and this time Dorsey Levens will be tossed for a loss by Chris Dolman.
And somebody forgot to block Dolman.
There's Gerback and Young. Dejected sideline for the San Francisco 49ers after losing in overtime back in October. There were a couple of controversial calls in this one. Thought that they could come back. They thought it was a game they should win and look to this game. But it wasn't to be.
Tell you what, the San Francisco organization, though, that is a classy organization, number one. And number two, they fully understand that there's only one successful team in this league every year. And they also know that they'll do whatever they have to do to get to that goal.
Yeah, they are relentless.
Nobody does it better than that organization.
And the Packer organization, you've talked about Ron Wolf
I think
so
Ron
many
Wolf
times.
has been just a monster up here. He and Mike Holmgren got on the same page. He's not afraid to make a mistake. Neither of these guys. They know who they want. They target them. They go after them. And they're keeping the people that they need as well. And that would be Brett Favre and some of the younger players like Edgar Bennett and all those guys. They picked them up. They put them in the right place. And now they have them going in the right direction.
There is Ron Wolf,
Ron Wolf right there.
Ron Wolf, who hired Mike Holmgren and then made the trade for Brett Favre.
Hey, good for you, Ron Wolf. Give a thumbs up. You deserve it.
And let's not forget Bob Harlan, the president of the Packers, who hired Ron Wolf. So it goes all the way to the top.
It always does. In every organization, it always starts at the top.
Hendricks' kick rolls dead at about the 16-yard line. 35-14, and now it's a matter of celebrating for these fans, the Hardy fans, who came out in record numbers today at Lambeau Field.
Ron was hitting the bottle. Did you see that? He's celebrating.
Only you can say that, too.
He's hitting a bottle of splash pure spring water.
Yeah, give him a plug.
There he is. Ron Wolf, who broke his teeth, or cut his teeth rather, not broke them.
240
Raiders.
Yes, he did. And Reggie White, who is one step closer to his dream goal of getting to the Super Bowl. 1st and 10 at the 16.
Vic, you have that wrong. His dream goal is to win the Super Bowl.
Pass out in the flat to William Floyd, who's knocked out of bounds. Well, today's NFC divisional game has been produced by Richard Zients and directed by Artie Kempner. Our associate director is Larry Lancaster, and our broadcast associates are Greg Scopatoni and Matt Lipp. Thanks also to our technical producer, Dean Walker, and the fine Fox technical staff. The studio was produced by Scott Ackerson and directed by Bob Levy, and the executive producers of Fox Sports are Ed Gorin and David Hill. 2nd and 5. Gerbat and an incomplete pass.
You know, Dick, the other thing is, you know, you see the field conditions and you see all the stuff and how tough it is to play on it, but I tell you, our crew, our camera crew and the technical people just done an outstanding job. There's Pete Chalveris way up in the top.
I knew you'd mention him again.
He's way up there. I mean, I think we turned him into a cult hero up here in Green Bay. But then you got the guys on the sideline who are slopping around. Mike Ratuz, yeah, he's happy. No more rain. They're all over the place.
They had to brave the elements.
Mike Tatamir over there.
He was covered. 3rd down and 5 with 2.5 minutes to play. Elvis Gerbat's pass intended for Mike Caldwell, and it's wrestled away. And it's an interception by Eugene Robinson, his second. Eugene Robinson, and what an acquisition by trade from the Seattle Seahawks, was number 41.
There's a nice shot right there down in the middle of the field between Steve Wallace and Sean Jones. Sean Jones got the pressure and forced this throw. Robinson made the play, and when the play was over, watch them wrestling for it. See, nobody has control. Robinson comes down, but when the play was over, Sean Jones and Steve Wallace went over and gave each other a big hug. And I think that says the kind of class that both these teams have.
They've been warriors out here today.
And I think there's a respect for a guy who's done it for a long time, and Steve Wallace has done it well for a long time. And there's a certain finality about losing a game that you just, even though you battle against a guy, you have a great amount of respect for what they've done all season long.
Dorsey Levens with a 5-yard gain, and so turnovers, the story of the second half. The 49ers turned it over 4 times. The Packers none, and 5 turnovers in all in the game. And so Mike Holmgren, the protege of that man, Bill Walsh, who's now down on the field. 2-minute warning here at Lambeau. 35-14, Packers on their way. Back here at Lambeau Field, and the Miller Lite play of the game. Desmond Howard's punt return to start it off for the Packers.
It's amazing how one play can change the tone of the game and how one player can do that. And Desmond Howard got that done on that play right there.
71 yards, and then a 46-yard punt return set up an easy touchdown for the Packers. They had 1st and goal at the 7. There is Howard. En route. They would never head it today were the Green Bay Packers. 2nd and 4. And the handoff to Dorsey Levens as we're under 2 minutes to go. We also want to thank our spotter Chris Visser and our statistician Dave Corris for their yeoman work up here in the booth throughout this season.
There's Steve Wallace, who
played well last week against the Eagles.
He's played well all year long. Jesse Sapolo. Tomorrow, 3:30 Eastern, Dallas Cowboys and the Carolina Panthers in what should be just a great matchup. Remember, the winner of that game will come right back here to Lambeau Field next week.
These teams have never played each other. Panthers, of course, only in their 2nd year of existence as Henderson gets maybe a yard. And the Carolina Panthers undefeated 8-0 at home at Ericsson Stadium this year. Coming up on the NASDAQ postgame report, JB, Terry, Howie, and Ronnie will wrap up today's game and look ahead to the other big divisional playoff matchups. All that and more on the NASDAQ postgame report.
Hey, you know what, Dick? I think that Terry, Howie, and Ronnie in our pregame hit a home run with this game. They really did. I mean, everything they said that would happen, happened, and everything they thought would play out, played out.
So a record for the Packers. This will be their 10th straight postseason win at home. The Buffalo Bills had won 9 in a row before they lost to Jacksonville last year. So the Packers own the record. Dorsey Levens slides and stays in bounds for the Packers on the 30th anniversary of their first Super Bowl championship. It'll be win number 17 in a row at Lambeau, and the Packers will move on to the title game in the NFC.
And if you're going to pick a player of the game, you look to the offensive line of the Green Bay Packers. They were the difference here today.
And the game is over. The final score, the Green Bay Packers 35, the San Francisco 49ers 14. So the Packers have now beaten the Niners 3 times in a row and will play the winner of the Carolina-Dallas game. And there you see, congratulations, Steve Young, I think, with Mike Holbrook. Right now, let's go down to Pam Oliver, who's with Brett Favre.
Congratulations on the win. I know you're cold. I'm freezing too. Sum up how significant this game was for this team and the place and the fans.
Well, this is kind of what we wanted. I guess we wanted this type of weather. This is really sloppy. We played great. Good luck. Take care. I wish you all the way. You're a good man. Good luck.
All right. You hear the fans screaming, "We want Dallas. We want Dallas." What's your preference?
I don't care who we play, really. Dallas is a great football team. I don't know if these people remember, but they've beaten us like 8 of the last 8 times. So it'd be nice to get them here, but hey, we'll play anybody. We're just fortunate to be in it, and we're happy.
All right, Brett, appreciate your time. Thanks a lot. Let's go back upstairs to Dick.
And Steve Young said, "You're a good man," and so is Steve Young. None better. And when we come back, we'll be joined by our studio in Los Angeles. 35-14, the final score. The Packers win. And on this kind of day, in the mud and the rain and the sleet, the Green Bay Packers outlast the 49ers 35-14 in a valiant divisional playoff battle.